What's up? It's Monday evening, right here. ONORA boys, we're in the building. Lucky Lefty podcast. We're brought to you by ONORA Whiskey. It is ONORAWhiskey.com. It is that premium American whiskey, ONORAWhiskey.com. And if you're going to drink, by all means, make sure you do so. Let's get it.
Restarts. Let's go.
Lucky Lefty podcast. MALIK ZAIRE. SD2 Mike Sean Davis. Definitely in the building. I wouldn't have it any other way. Talked to my Chi-Town representative this weekend, feeling good. Get to that. Portal on fire. Notre Dame's on fire in the portal coming off.
Fire!
And then I was doing the Lord's work. I had to check in and see what all the hubbub was about.
Yeah, you both doing the Lord's work.
That's former teammates trying to mute my boy.
Green. That's the same teammate that said Brian Kelly made a better decision because he can get more talent down in Baton Rouge. And so we exposing everything now. We exposing everything.
CFB Nation, Apple Podcast, Spotify. We need the audio edibles each and every day. Patreon.com/Lucky Lefty Network. Lucky Legends Podcast. Players Only Podcast. YouTube, you already know. Subscribe. Make sure you hit the notification bell. Hit the thumbs up. It helps with the views. Leave your comments and questions. We respond to all. TikTok, Twitter, X, Instagram at Lucky Lefty Pod. We are the home of the misguided passion. Forever committed to making sure that we spin it different. Left. You're gonna have to explain some things to me, bro. Because I was doing the Lord's work, man, meditating. We started a 21-day fast as a ministry on Saturday, so I'm locked in, right? I'm making sure that I'm clean, my spirit, my body, everything. Next thing I'm checking Twitter, and I'm like, yo, what in the world? I felt like I needed to do a Twitter cleanse as well, like a social media cleanse, like the vitriol that was flying this weekend was just, and I had to chime in, Left. I had to chime in because when I saw a sub shot, I took it as a sub shot. I'm not gonna get in between teammates. I took it as a sub. I don't like
That's what they do. That's what they do.
I don't like subliminals. If you're gonna say something, tag me. That's subliminal stuff.
Yeah, well, that's what they do when times get hard. You gotta stand in the fire.
When I saw the subliminal, saying, man, I might have to mute one of my teammates. And I was like, all right. I'm like,
we from Ohio. We both from you used to hit me up talking about what's it like up there? What's the schedule like? What's Brian Kelly like? You used to ask me the details. Young Crawford. You used to ask the details. Then he ain't got industry. That's what happened. They ain't get industry and got the lyrical lemonade. You're dealing with the head coach, personal sit down, 60-minute interviews, and they get to buttering you up. You buttering them up. They buttering you up and get the lion sweet to your ears. The sweet lies they tell to your ears, and then you run back to the village. Oh, he made a great decision. He couldn't get the recruits. Come on, Malik. You know that the talent is down in Baton Rouge. No, try to hold him back. I sat down and had a one-on-one. He told me himself. It was too hard. It wasn't enough NIL, the talent. I'm like, okay, young Sean, that's green. That's green, young Sean. But he was just a young journalist at the time. Just a young journalist. He's just getting his feet wet. His 3 big interviews are from the home team. He gave him the home team discount. But as he learned, as he gets older, man, as a journalist, you got to think independently. Independent. Take it with a grain of salt. Analyze, break down information. We love him, though. and he's doing his thing. The big varsity podcast. He got the gear, the hats, the travel. I hope he's writing them off. For them taxes, you got right off the travel expenses, equipment. You know what I'm saying? But when you have to stand in that fire, you got to take on fan bases. Sometimes the heat gets too much in the kitchen, and I get it. That's why he didn't want to put the tag. He said one of. He didn't have about 400 Notre Dame teammates. He said one of. We right here with it, Sean. We here at the Lucky Lefty podcast, man.
So, hence, loving the brotherhood. Sean Crawford came on Lucky Lefty podcast. Had a great show with us. I've had great conversations. He and I had a conversation. Remember when he tried to tell me that Bryce J. Underwood needs to go to LSU, and I was like,
remember
that? And I said, Bryce, I don't think it's gonna go that route. Yeah. I don't think it's gonna go respectfully. I don't think it's gonna go that route.
I just want to know if you remember.
Agree for wide receivers and quarterbacks. I'm like,
yeah, sure.
I hear you.
Yeah, that's what they say.
That hometown program just coming off a national championship.
Yeah, it's the hometown.
Yeah.
Lord Jesus.
And when Bryce J ended up at Michigan, I was like,
More predictions that become.
But here, this is where it lies. Okay, let me speak in wisdom to everyone, because I'm solid like this on a daily with our fans. So if I'll say this to our fans, let me say this to Ohio State fans and any other fan base. Look, man, you can't be thin-skinned in this game.
Can't do it.
I co-host a show with one of the biggest trolls in all of America. Okay? He's one of the biggest trolls. He knows I'm from Chicago. He trolls me on Michael Jordan, Zach Levine, all types of Chicago stuff on the daily. Okay? You got to learn to roll with the punches and have fun with it. It's a fantastic matchup coming up on January the 20th.
Fantastic. It's fantastic.
Game against the Ohio State Buckeyes. Buckeye fans, if you're joining us tonight, enjoy the show. We're going to have some fun. You don't have to be nasty. Our chat is never very respectful. Shout out to our boy Archer that's always in. Ohio State fan. Cool kid who's always in. Huge. We still look for our boy Roosevelt, the Miami Hurricane fan. He has
they're in Cabo. They're in Cabo watching. It's okay.
They got Carson Beck, though. We'll see you week one.
See, he thought he was going to escape by not playing in the game. No, we're going to come to you, Carson. It's all good, baby.
That's what's up. So we love all college football fans that come in and chop it up with us. But y'all got to stop being so thin-skinned, man.
Oh, yeah.
You can't take jokes. What type, man, I just wonder what your holidays are like. You don't sit around with your cousins and crack on each other. And, you haven't seen each other in a while. And maybe somebody's picked up some weight or something. Or it's got some grays or something. You can't crack. You can't have fun.
They think they're beyond cracking. That's the problem.
Man, a little teasing. You can't take that.
They're just offended. That's what they're. Oh, how dare you?
It's not even like the day before when the tensions are like at a pitch and the expectation is like we're like 10 days out. Oh, yeah, you guys are letting Left get you that tight. And I know him. The level of petty. Oh my God. Like, dude, the Ohio State fan base got so tight. You made it onto Andy Staples' ESPN podcast, bro.
I know you saw Andy Staples.
That base is that tight. Why y'all that tight? Why?
For
what? Do you realize that no tweet, no opinion, nothing that any of us say
it's going to affect this game?
It's going to affect the game. None of it. That's why we should have fun with it and enjoy it. That's it.
If any of the players or coaches need to go to Twitter to get motivation for the national championship, then you lost. We won. We don't even go to the game. if you think that what I'm saying is fueling the fire of one of the worst quarterbacks in Ohio State last 15 years.
Okay, now in all fairness, Lucky Lefty podcast, we're gonna get to the game.
Yeah,
I want to know why. Let's go expound upon that. Let's why. What brought you to that? I know where you're going. Because the scapegoat just put up 4 stacks in Syracuse with wide receivers. The scapegoat went to Syracuse. He was scapegoated.
Scapegoat with the Syracuse. I can't let him get away with it. I'm not going to let him get away with it.
Go ahead, Lefty.
So the first thing we have to acknowledge that Ohio State has had one of the most generational quarterback runs since the 2000s. And that's very true. It's fair. And that's speaking to the level and the standard of an Ohio State quarterback. We can go down the list because when I said 15 years, y'all not thinking about it because it shocked you because that's how great Ohio State quarterbacks have been. I can acknowledge that. Going back to Troy Smith, a Heisman guy, Terrell Pryor, Braxton Miller, J.T. Barrett, who is a Big Ten all-time leader in many categories, four-year starter. You got Cardell, who played only a few games and won a championship. Then you go to Justin Fields, C.J. Stroud, Dwayne Haskins, and Lord, don't forget about Kyle, who just left and became the all-time ACC passing leader. That guy. Now that's 15 years of quarterbacks. 15, that's 2000 to right now. That's a long time. Maybe even 20 years. And out of all those guys, Will Howard is undoubtedly the worst one. By far. And it's so crazy because it shocks Ohio State fans because they want to be masked behind this, oh, we're in the championship. Not because of that guy. Because you telling me, because this is what the connection is. You telling me if this is the worst guy y'all had at the quarterback position in 15 years plus, I'll even take Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow was on the roster. I'm taking him. I'm taking Kenny Guyton.
Quinn Ewers was on the roster.
Quinn Ewers. I'm taking him too. So I'm not lying. And that's what I've realized about Buck fans that get so emotional. Y'all don't like to hear the realization about your program. Y'all don't like to hear that y'all let Tony Alford walk right out that door. Right out that door, down the street. With good old Sharon, the guy that was crying, that guy. And then Coach Alford's room literally beat y'all team at home by themselves because it wasn't the quarterback. The quarterback had 62 yards and 2 interceptions. It wasn't the quarterback. It was the running back room, Coach Alford, that y'all let walk right out that door. And then he beat you with just his room alone. Him and Sharon were just buddy-buddy. That's on y'all team. Let's not talk about the fact that y'all need this win. Y'all need it. Ryan Day sits at home and is trying to use the national championship to mask over the most important thing that an Ohio State coach is dedicated and promises to do, and that's beat the team up north. You need this win, Ryan Day. I know that. You need this win to validate that $20 million. You need that win to validate that what you did with Will Howard is somehow better than what you witnessed from Kyle McCord, who got better once he left, because then we can talk about development. How is Kyle McCord with worse receivers having 1,000 more yards than the guy you brought him in to replace? How does that? So you don't want to talk about the development because you want to mask it with we won the championship. But let's think about it. You lost to the defending champions, who are your rivals, when you had a better team that you spent more money to say it took. So not only are you going to lose to the defending champions of just last year, you're going to lose again in the championship. So that's 2 losses to championship teams in one season. Not to mention, we come out with the biggest bag every time. We done collected about $40 to $50 million on the way to the championship. 40 to 50 million.
That's our money.
That's our money. Guess what?
Y'all had to divvy it up.
Y'all had to split it 16, 17, 18 ways. Yeah. So not only do y'all not
nobody's sitting back like this. Rutgers sitting back like this.
Rutgers sitting back saying, go Big Ten. Go Big Ten. Fill our pockets up. Fill our pockets up, Big Ten. Come on, Ohio State.
They want us to be like that.
So y'all gotta lose money getting to the championship and then spend the most on a roster. And we did it with a bargain.
This is why this is big cat. There is no one ever that lived on earth that would not prefer to make it for themselves and collect their own. This is my money, my business, my brand.
And y'all got to share
everyone
all that.
That's working in corporate America for someone right now. If you could leave right now and live a darn good life, not the same amount of money if they make, but a darn good life for yourself and realize your dreams on your own, you would do it.
You would do it.
So miss me with that conference stuff.
Miss me with it.
It's the biggest cap in sports right now. Anybody talking about Notre Dame needs to be in a conference, you're lying. Because if you had the same opportunity, or if you could do it,
or if you could sustain it, because Penn State couldn't sustain it. Penn State couldn't sustain being independent. Miami couldn't sustain it.
Because people forget the late 80s, early 90s, the independents ran. The independents were running it. It wasn't the conferences.
Wasn't no conference.
Were running it.
Wasn't no conference. Wasn't no conference. And what's crazy?
It was the only one. It was how many? Only one stood, and only one still stands.
Still taking over with all the rule changes. And you know what's crazy? We doing it on a bargain. We doing it our way. Because if we ever,
you know why? Because we don't have, we're good stewards.
We're good stewards to y'all.
Yeah.
Because if we ever open up the purse on college football, it wouldn't be Ohio State spent 20. It wouldn't even be a competition. Then y'all really get to complaining. Oh, they raking in all the money. Oh, they buying all the players. Oh, they winning all the games. We said we're going to take it easy as good stewards on y'all. We're going to close the purse and win it our way. So now we out of the 4 or 5 teams in the playoffs, we probably got the cheapest roster. Now think about that.
And I'm not mad at you. See, because I'm a White Sox fan. I understand the pain that I go through with the cheap ownership that I have year after year. I would love to have ownership like the Dodgers that buy it every year, buy the division title every year, buy a World Series when they win. I don't have a problem with buying it. I don't have a problem with Ohio State buying nothing. Stand on it.
Stand on it. That's all.
That's all we say. You bought it. You bought
y'all paid to get there, and we played.
You're there, and you're there,
and that's good.
And you're there,
but you better win.
And I don't want this cat, Kirk Herbstreit, alumni. Well, they pay for the old players. Don't make a difference. You paid them not to go to the NFL. You bought it.
You bought it.
I don't care what you spent it on. It's bought. Stand on it. I don't have a problem with it. If you got it,
gotta win.
You can spend it. Spend it.
Congratulations.
That's the game.
That's the game
right now.
Wait, it's the game for y'all.
Down on it though.
It's the game for y'all. Because guess what? Ain't nothing better than Ryan born on third base day to need a $20 million incentive to try to help him win, right? Because guess what? Marcus Freeman in 3 years built a program from what a lot of people believe from scratch.
They said it could have been done.
It said
done.
In 3 years.
It couldn't be done.
We don't have the 25 million, 20, 30, 40 million roster. How are we in the phone?
Wait. Will Howard wasn't even y'all first choice.
Oh, listen, don't say that.
I gotta rip off the Band-Aid. Just be honest. Y'all know it. Get your boy Zach Smith on the phone since he knows all the inner workings of the
Get Zach Smith on the phone right now.
They know it. Riley Leonard was y'all first choice.
Right, not Cam Ward.
You didn't want Riley Leonard. Well, I've heard reports that say Cam was first, Riley was second. I've heard reports that said Riley was first, Cam was second. What I'm saying is the quarterback they got wasn't 1 or 2.
It's the consolation prize. It's the consolation prize. You know how you go to the carnival games and you toss the ring on the bottles, and you pop the balloons. Y'all didn't get the big bear. Y'all got the goldfish in the bag. That's what y'all end up getting. The goldfish in the bag. And all y'all Ohio State fans, oh, y'all got, look at Riley's stats and look at, but the number one pick it came with us. Y'all got the constellation, which proves a couple things. Let's talk about what it proves. That y'all took something of a constellation and made it work. When we took something of somebody that wanted to be there from the jump and you saw a development, real time. See, now I can expose all the fluff. You insert a guy that's surrounded with $20 million roster, and then y'all winning games and y'all doing big things, but you never get to see what he looks like as a standalone. And then when the times get tough, when the game and money's on the line, and that player has to perform, and you be like, where did this guy come from? He's been doing so good because it was fluff. But you look at the other side, a guy that we told you was gonna struggle, and he did. But then you got to see what development in a program looks like. 5 weeks of trying to figure it out, and you can figure it out, and you take off. So I don't want to use stats. I can't. Y'all got the stats. Because you dress him up real nice. You know what I'm saying? When you dress up a raccoon, you can't tell if it's chicken or if it's a raccoon because you dress
stats up. Left. You know how many quarterbacks I could put at Ohio State that will calculate or accumulate the same amount of stats?
And do better.
How many yards did Cam Ward have thrown for?
2 of the 5 best receivers in college
football. How many? Cam Ward would have thrown for at least 4,500.
At least. Y'all pumping out 3,300 yards with the top 2 receivers? The best receiver? Come on,
like, dude.
Come on, man.
You have a good quarterback, man. You have a good quarterback.
He's not.
You have a good quarterback, but stop. And stop being so sensitive. Stop being so sensitive when someone points out
that y'all didn't believe in him. The coaching staff got him as a consolation because they couldn't get the other 2.
This is all you need to know. And Ohio State fans, if you're in here, tell me if I'm lying. Feel free to say it in the chat. They literally didn't trust him in the middle of the Michigan game and took the ball out of his hands. They didn't even trust him.
Their own quarterback.
You know it. He's done an incredible job. They've done an incredible job, just as Notre Dame, taking a step back, like Notre Dame did against Northern Illinois, getting the train back on the tracks.
Yeah.
And playing lights out. See, this is why this matchup is beautiful. And I'm going to go over to Patreon, because I got inspired. I won't say any names, but somebody did a little podcast about if they were the commissioner, this is what they would do. So I'm going to go ahead and rebut what they said, because one of the most foolish things they said was we need to expand to a 14-team playoff. I said, I don't need 2 more teams that ain't worthy. That's the last thing I don't need. Because we already see with the 12, it was really only 4 to 6 teams that are worthy.
And only 2 that was built right.
That's it. It's really, every year, it's only 4 to 6 teams that are really worthy of a national championship. I can't sit here and forecast the future. To say you won't have a Cinderella at some point in the college football playoff, maybe a team does get hot.
Maybe
a 11, 12 seed does get hot.
Maybe.
But every year, 4 to 6 teams that are real championship caliber teams. 4 to 6. What you have here in this matchup are 2 teams. I think I told you this yesterday, love. This is why this matchup is phenomenal. Because both of these teams have been tested.
Yeah.
You cannot find one reason to say Notre Dame shouldn't be there, Ohio State shouldn't be there, despite disappointing losses in the regular season by both.
Despite.
You know why? They both had the toughest path. Indiana, Georgia, Penn State. That's a tough path. Tennessee, Oregon, Texas, that's a tough path. And the fact that they both made it through qualifies them for this matchup. So we can stop all that talk about Notre Dame doesn't deserve. Man, shut up.
Yeah, shut up.
Who had a tougher path? See, because when you're tried and tested and you get to the darkest hour, the only thing that can come forth is what's in you.
That's right.
When Texas was on the 1 yard line, the only thing that could come out was cute. They ain't got no attitude and toughness.
No.
They were 1 yard away from tying the game up. All they had was cute.
And who gives away a 80-yard screen to the running back before half? Like, that's two plays.
Trying to be cute.
Two plays.
A cornerback blitz.
Two plays. 2 plays gave y'all 14 points, and y'all won by 14 points.
That's it. It's plain and simple.
2 plays got y'all feeling that confident. Come on, bro.
Both of these teams have shown who they are in the most difficult situations. Regular season and postseason. And they're here. Enjoy it. Stop being so thin-skinned. You get trolled way too easy. That was light work. The stuff he was trolling y'all on was light work. I'm like, dude, he really, what
are you talking about?
Posting on blogs and getting this to ESPN.
They know. They know it's coming. They can't accept the loss.
Over light work?
Over light work. 8 days, 9 days out.
Y'all, wait a minute. Y'all not even feeling Ryan Day right now. 100%.
That's what I don't understand. I thought we was on the same page. Y'all just had his head on the stake. Talk about we need to fire him. He's saving himself by getting this far.
Like, what? Come on, man.
If he lost to any of them teams, Tennessee,
y'all lit, they lit
Oregon,
man, they lit Will Howard up after the Oregon game.
Lit him up. Lit him up.
Lit him up.
And now y'all running to his rescue?
They lit him up after the Michigan game.
And now y'all running to his rescue?
So we basically are just echoing your concerns.
Yeah.
But now you want to defend like he's better than Justin Fields. He's better.
Who's he better than?
Stop.
I don't know.
Stop.
I'm over here agreeing with you, and you want to jump down my throat and act like he gonna do what? What is he gonna do better than what he's been doing?
So, Left, this is my point. Penn State had not been tested until they got to Notre Dame. Boise State wasn't a test for them. SMU wasn't a and what came out? The truth about
James Franklin, their
quarterback. In that moment, who they are came out against Notre Dame late in that fourth quarter. You can't hide the truth.
Not in football.
You can't in football. And the truth of the matter is, these are the 2 best teams. These are the 2 best teams. The way they play, the rosters, 180.
Yeah, totally different mindsets.
Roster construction, 180.
180. Just like Georgia. And we had to, but roster ideologies are different.
One roster was paid for, the other one was brick and mortar.
Put together.
Brick and mortar.
Through strenuous situations.
One is always told they're the best, and one was told it can't be done.
Can't be done.
Not in the modern era of football. It's a beautiful contrasting matchup. Beautiful.
Can't put together a team.
Yeah. It's a beautiful matchup.
Yeah. Because we already beat the babies. We already beat the babies. We already beat Georgia.
Look, man, just enjoy the game. If you got a GTB question, put it in the chat. Super chat, go ahead, put it in, man. This is just the intro. Go in. We'll get to them immediately. That's what we do.
Thin-skinned Buckeyes, man. You never thought I'd see it.
Stop. Dude, at least let it get to a week away and let the tension build, right? It's too early, man. It's too early.
Yeah. They don't like when things are done through brick and mortar. because they thought they could get ahead to the top because Bama recruiting got messed up. They thought they could just jump to the top with paying. But unfortunately, you still got to meet the original. You got to meet what was built, what was constructed, what took time, not gifted, not born on third base, not all the resources available.
Right.
Come on now. I love the fact that Marcus Freeman's in this position because he can get right on track where he's supposed to be. This is like a full circle moment.
Man.
Columbus didn't have to go far to get beat by Ohio. You got Dayton, Ohio right there. Mike Mickens and good old Marcus Freeman. Got to get the job done. I just don't understand how y'all make it so. I think it's just an arrogance. It's this, how dare you say we won't win? Well, one, we're going to show up. Ohio State fans, I'm sorry. We're going to come to the game too. I love to think that you guys would expect us to play. Y'all just talk like it's a 3-4 touchdown lead. I don't know where you get that from. Because once again, we do the magic formula. What did I say about Penn State? Where are they going to get their points from? If you know we're going to take away your favorite thing to go to, or at least manage it, where are the other points going to come from? And the opportunities presented themselves. For Drew Aller to be the guy that everybody said he was, a first-round pick, better than Shadur, better than Cam, better first pick a quarterback of the draft. And he was throwing the ball out of bounds, couldn't hit the ocean if he was standing in a boat. And it was nobody else's fault. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. Wide open guys couldn't hit right there in front of him. And it just flashed me back to Will Howard, who is the same thing in just a different color. When the money was on the line, he was nowhere to be found because guess what happened? His talent had to show, and it couldn't rise to the level that it needed to be. And if you're talking about how you going to take that and go against a top defense that's already cutting your points in half, make it make sense. Where are the points going to come from? Jeremiah Smith has had 8 catches in 2 games, and the last game it was 1 catch with 3 yards. So that shows inconsistency. The game before that had 7 catches for 187 and 2 touchdowns. Do you think Notre Dame is going to get beat off 7 receptions? Do you think Notre Dame is just going to all of a sudden give up 187 yards? It's too volatile. It's too volatile for y'all to sit there and depend on something y'all hoping and not giving no credit to what you're going against. This is the toughest defense you've been against. Al Golden has proven week to week.
Look, this is where some people, and maybe they're young and need to have more life experience, right? They think that what they watch is a video game.
It's a video game.
They think what they watch is analytics and what they see in stats and roster. Okay? Let me explain this. Because Ohio State fans, they will throw roster, 5-star this, 5-star that. What y'all going to stop? How y'all going to stop this? How y'all going to stop that? The last 2 times y'all played Notre Dame, how many points y'all scored? With all that offense.
Yeah.
With all the wide receivers, how many points you scored? You won both games, but talk to me about how many points you scored.
How many points did you score?
How many points did you score?
The lowest of your season.
See,
the lowest of the season.
All this beating your chest. Notre Dame knows how to play you, just like Michigan knows how to play you. You better recognize.
We know what y'all going to come out with.
Okay?
That's the thing.
So think. Stop looking at stats and worry about what happens, because styles make fights. And the one style, which is run the ball, play defense, is a style that Ohio State struggles with. Wide open, soft finesse teams like Oregon, Texas,
IU.
Love playing that. But when somebody
forces,
Yeah, when somebody forces Ohio State to stand in the middle of the ring and fight it out, all of that cute stuff.
embarrassed.
No, they don't get embarrassed. I'm not gonna say they get embarrassed
They
because
get
they won.
embarrassed because
No,
Michigan one guy.
That's Michigan. We ain't Michigan. We ain't
I
beat them
believe
yet.
they have better committee of running backs.
Michigan can talk trash because they didn't whoop their tails 4 years in a row.
You're right.
We can't do that. We can't do that.
Let's leave Michigan.
We had 2 opportunities in the fourth quarter to win games, and we didn't get it done. Point blank.
Yeah.
But the point is, both times Ohio State was a touchdown to double-digit favorite, and the game didn't go the way they thought it was going to go.
Every time.
So Ohio State fans keep thinking it's sweet because y'all got this on the roster and that on the roster. Wait a minute. We got Jeremiah Smith. Y'all had Marvin Harrison Jr. the last 2 seasons. What are we talking
Harrison
about?
Jr.
Y'all always have a beast at wide receiver. What's the problem?
Y'all always had a beast at wide receiver.
Wait. What was Marvin Harrison Jr.'s worst game last year?
Yeah,
who was that against? Who was that against?
That was against Ben Morrison.
Was that? Ben Morrison, the guy we lost in the middle of the season. We just replaced him with a true freshman that's
playing one of the best positions of all college football.
Okay. So just keep thinking it's sweet. We just gonna roll Notre Dame. I think how y'all gonna score if it's not with Riley's legs? You darn right. You know what we're doing. We're running the ball. Stop it.
We're gonna run the ball. Yeah. What we do against Penn State? We came out third quarter and ran right in the middle, and took them out of the game. Right in the middle, the whole way down the field, right through the middle.
Stop it. We're not hiding. Stop it.
That was our adjustment, though. That's what's so funny. Our adjustment was to run right through your chest, Penn State.
I can tell you what we're not going to do, though. We're not going to get down on the goal line and throw a tall sweep. We ain't doing that.
We definitely not doing that.
Okay, hey, how good is 31? We coming straight ahead. Stop
13.
It. Stop. You got to stop it 4 times. Stop it.
Yeah, we're not going to do nothing different.
Stop it. We're not doing that.
We're not going side to side.
Talk sweep from the 1 yard line.
That's finesse. That's what y'all like to do. That's when y'all can Caleb Downs and be athletic and run all the sideline to sideline. That's what y'all can do. But we coming right at you. And that's something that obviously I've had a hard time with. It's been the blueprint for y'all this whole time. Tennessee don't got no run game. Let's talk about that.
Man.
Tennessee didn't have no run game. They depend on Nico Immobile to beat y'all. And that was a favorable matchup for y'all.
Last I checked, I did watch that game. Nico was making plays with his legs that game. I just want to point that out. Nico was getting loose with his legs.
Film study. Film study. We just saying these finesse teams y'all playing that plays right into your hands. Nico needed to win the game, and that's what y'all like. Y'all like that y'all can rush the passer and Jack Sawyer do the ear thing and all that. Yeah, y'all like that. Y'all liked it when y'all went against an Oregon who's a finesse team. Oregon who's a finesse team. Oregon's a finesse team. Y'all can run around and chase little tiny Bill and Gabriel, the Hawaiian punch man. Y'all can go get it. Come on.
He said good luck into the goal line. You mean like Michigan? You mean like Michigan? Good luck into
We're not going to throw the ball on the 1 yard line straight to the defender and Jack Sawyer. It's just not going to happen. Because you're running at Jack Sawyer. That's the difference.
The arrogance. This is what, their fan base is so arrogant, but then they get mad because you know what they expect? They expect us to not say anything.
Yeah, no, just to be like, they're a great matchup.
Oh, you guys, we're so honored to be in the national championship game with you guys. No, we're going to talk our talk too. Y'all intimidating us. Intimidate us. We're talking our talk too. If you don't like it, fine.
And they can't defeat. They can't defeat.
Last I checked, you came to our side to hear what we had to say. I have no desire to go to your side to any of your podcasts.
What are y'all going to talk about? How to pay for a roster? Come on, man.
Talk your talk. That's your right. But don't expect us to just shut up because you say something.
Because you guys, guess what? I'm not playing in the game. I'm sorry, guys. None of my numbers are going to matter in this championship.
None of your analysis, none of your trash talk will affect anything.
My stats, where I went to school, none of that's going to matter in the Monday game.
We appreciate the numbers, though. We appreciate the numbers.
Yeah.
We appreciate the numbers.
I don't know how any of that has to do with Will Howard playing good or Will Howard being better than any of the quarterbacks y'all had the last 15 years. Like, come on, man. We're just y'all know he wasn't the guy. He wasn't the dude coming in. Y'all had questions in fall camp. Y'all was saying should Julian Sand, who is a better thrower of the football, talking about who's gonna start. Y'all didn't even know who's gonna start. Now all of a sudden, Will Howard is the what? What is he gonna do? Even if he wins, y'all not gonna say he's better than any of them quarterbacks that we just listed. He's not better than CJ Stroud, not better than Justin Fields, not better than JT Barrett, not better than Braxton Miller, Terrell Pryor, Troy Smith, Joe Burrow, Quinn Ewers. He's not better than any of those guys.
This dude.
Y'all trying to tell me he's gonna go tear us up for 300 yards? What?
Let me have fun now. Because Ohio State fans are in the chat now talking about you guys are terrible at this. You guys are terrible at playing Michigan. You're horrible. You're horrible. You're awful. It doesn't matter what they have. It doesn't matter who's the head coach. You're horrible. You're horrible at playing Michigan. It doesn't matter if it's in Ann Arbor. It doesn't matter if it's at the Horseshoe. You're terrible. You're terrible. Need to do a better job. Need to do a better job of stopping the run. Not getting punched in the face. Not getting mad when somebody plants the flag in the middle of your field.
And then get beat up afterward? How do you do that?
Getting bullied all fourth quarter. And then you got the nerve. Now you want to hulk up about a flag. Yeah, be better.
And then your head coach wasn't going to do nothing. He's watching.
Be better.
He's watching. He's like, oh, y'all.
Be better. And what you said, what you said? Oh, a running back playing at 75% came out and ran for 5 yards per carry and literally was the plug in the second half comeback against Penn State. And it's going to be a first-round pick next year when he comes out? What are you talking about? And the lead back from Tennessee didn't even play. He was hurt. What are you talking about? This is why fans just say stuff, man.
They just saying stuff.
Just saying stuff.
Yeah.
Now, you're focused on one back, but then we got another freshman running back that made the key play in the game.
Couple, back-to-back.
On a sluggo. And then a 12-yard run. Freshman. True freshman.
Guys that y'all say it wasn't possible with.
You got 3. You got to worry about 3 running backs.
4 with Riley.
4.
Y'all don't get Riley no credit. Y'all got to get 4 with Riley.
So keep beating your chest. See, because I have nothing but love. See, let me read you something. Can I read you something, love? See, this is why Ohio State fans need to relax. Okay? This was my message on December 21st. December 21st, that morning, I sent a message. I said, today is your time, bro. God's plan in the beginning of a victorious run for you and your teammates. Does that sound like hating? I literally said, God's plan in the beginning of a victorious run for you and your teammates. God and Mom are with you. Love you, bro. That's what I sent to Carnell. The morning before the morning of the Tennessee game. That's what my heart is, bro.
Yeah.
I don't know. See, when vitriol starts spewing out, that lets me know where your heart is.
It lets you know.
Yeah, maybe you need to pray and ask God to remove some of that bitterness from your heart. The game of football is not that serious.
It's not.
It's not that serious.
For us to be hurt.
I'm sure there'll be some Notre Dame fans like, why are you talking to an Ohio State player?
Don't give them no bulletin board material.
Because that's family. That's Chicago. That's love. And the morning after they beat literally the morning after they won the semifinal game, I hit them again and said I wouldn't have it any other way on January the 20th.
Look at that.
Congrats, bro.
Look at that.
And he hit me back and said, thanks, bro. That's why I am with it, bro. So stop all this foolishness, man. Just learn to enjoy the game. And just because someone disagrees with you, doesn't mean somebody's hating.
Yeah,
you're stupid. You're a clown. Man, grow up, man. the emotional immaturity right now, dude, on social media surrounding football is absolutely baffling to me, bro.
Yeah.
It's baffling. Like, y'all, you that weak emotionally that people can get you riled up?
Of course.
You're that weak emotionally that people get you riled up like that? You guys are bad at this. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Don't take away from the fact that it's still going to be a great game.
It's a game, bro.
And that we feel
It's a
like
game.
we're going to win. I don't understand what else is.
Game. Everything, literally everything that you have said in the chat is something that every team has said about Riley Leonard in the offense every week before they played Notre Dame. Every fan base has said the same thing, and Notre Dame averaged 38 points on the season somehow. Somehow.
And beat people by double digits.
Y'all wide receivers. You don't have wide receivers. You don't have a passing game. You don't have an offensive line. All you have is this. Your running backs aren't that good. And yet and still, here they are, averaging 38 points and pretty much putting up, wait a minute. They just beat Penn State by the same amount of points that Ohio State did. Last I checked. Maybe I'm wrong. What are we talking about? What are we talking about?
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Like, what are we talking about, man? Y'all just don't like to be told anything other than y'all are the
greatest team ever.
And the
That's it.
Ever. And you're not.
You're not.
You're not.
Two plays about 14 points.
You're a fan base that loves your team just like Notre Dame fans are a fan base that love their team. That's it. You're not better. You're not any different. This game is this is why college football is what it is. You have two teams that did it the hard way with different roster construction and hard-nosed attitudes, and they proved it. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. Because the truth of the matter is, everybody can make their predictions, but I'm going to tell you one thing. Fletch, as you predict Notre Dame to be shut out. I'm going to tell you one thing, Fletch.
Yeah.
Do not let Notre Dame win. That's all I'm saying. Don't let it happen, because you better not come. You better hide. Hide. Don't let it happen. Hide. That's all I'm saying.
Don't let us win. Please. That's what you need to tell.
Don't let it happen.
Tell them boys in the locker room.
Don't let
us win. Don't
let it happen.
Don't do it.
Happen.
Not the way we're winning it. Oh no.
They're not scared of you.
Definitely not scared.
They're not scared of you.
We asked. We said, please, can y'all win this Texas game? Meet us down in Atlanta, please.
Not scared of you.
Go Buckeyes. That's what we were saying. Go Buckeyes.
Heard you with it. They asked Jeremiah Love after the game.
After the game?
What do you think about what do you think about tomorrow? He's like, no, we forget Texas.
We want Ohio State.
We want them.
Yeah.
We want it. And he said it with respect. He said, we want to beat the best. He said, we want to beat the best.
There you go.
That's it. So what is the issue? I looked up, man. I had to come away from ministry and mediate stuff between teammates and like, man, what? Like, man, enjoy life, man. What are you talking about? We got a whole. I'm not about to get into the nuances of this game, bro. I'm not. I had a full week. I had to spread this content out. Spread this content out.
8 days away, man.
But once again, bro, life will show you, bro, just in mature conversation. When people get the name calling, when you have people like Fletch Don't want to call names, insult, do all of that stuff. That's running down my back, bro. That's not doing anything. I'm laughing.
I say water down a duck's back.
I'm laughing. I'm literally laughing.
I'm ready to win. I know that.
It's like context. How can I give context? We haven't started breaking the game down. What we haven't talked about the game at all. We're literally talking about what's happened this weekend with you, Malik, and the Ohio State fan. That's literally been the conversation. He's like, you haven't said anything. We have to.
We haven't even started yet.
We got a full week to break down this game. We're talking about the journey of both teams and why both teams are the best two teams in college football. Period. That's it.
Period. Best two teams.
The context of that, the tournament, the playoff. That's the context. That's the context for both teams.
The best two teams
got the best two teams standing. That's the context. It's as simple as that.
Got here by two different ways.
That's it.
There's 1,000 ways to skin a cat. We didn't get here the same way. But we both deserve to be here. And we asked for y'all to meet us here. It's all good. But don't let us win. Don't let us do it.
You happy about the buzz? Let's talk about some more buzz. You happy about the buzz? The Bears started? Notre Dame fans are going crazy too. Notre Dame fans are going. That's the next thing. They're just what is? I'm getting texts. Like what? Like first of all, the Bears are literally interviewing anything moving right now. They're interviewing anything moving. I think it's up to like 16 candidates. That's ridiculous. You would think by now they've known that they were going to be doing this. They should have known and had a list of at least 5 to 7 candidait's
16 candidates.
16 candidates is 16 interviews is absolutely ridiculous.
Well, it's nothing to get upset about, Marcus Freeman.
As I shared with you, yes, they did reach out. They have had interest. I think it was Pellicero in the Field Network that broke that on pregame. They have been doing their due diligence, and there are significant ties between Notre Dame and the Chicago Bears. From a family standpoint, grandchildren going to school. Dave Durison, beloved Chicago Bear, former Notre Dame football player, was on the board before his tragic death. The connections have always been there with the Chicago Bears and Notre Dame. The president, Kevin Warren, he's a Notre Dame grad.
Yeah.
So the connections, of course, they have an eye on Marcus Freeman. And I told you this yesterday, Left. Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? He is if there is the McCaskies and Notre Dame are the outliers of the NFL and college football. I told you this yesterday, Left. You were like, why would they be interested in Marcus Freeman? They're watching him operate at Notre Dame, and they're saying, we run our business the way Notre Dame runs their business, and he's handling that well, he would fit well.
Yeah.
I don't care what the McCaskies tell you. We have hands off. That's cap. That's cap. They have buffers. But dude, come on, man. They just had Hard Knocks. And literally were the first NFL team to say, we don't want any cursing in our Hard Knocks. I don't think I've heard a curse word on Here Come the Irish. And I don't think you will. I'm telling you, The way Notre Dame runs business is very similar to the way the McCaskies run business, right? It's a small family business.
Yeah. They're
You
not
already
going to
talked
operate.
about Notre Dame. Notre Dame, whether it's a private institution, it's an outlier, man, the enrollment, and it's just different. The way they operate in NIL, different. It's different. Everything that Notre Dame does is different, which is probably why a lot of people are scared off from a coaching standpoint because they feel like I can't find a way to win that way. But the
Right.
one thing you're not changing Notre Dame. They're not going to change because of a coach. They're not. The Chicago Bears are not going to change because of a coach. So the interest, whether or not it's real, and nothing would ever come of it, more than likely until after the 20th. My anticipation is that they will make a press, or they will press to get an interview. I don't think they do it, or shall I say, I don't think Marcus Freeman does it. I feel like Marcus Freeman is extremely happy. He just signed an extension prior to the Indiana game, which was very smart business-wise on Notre Dame.
Very smart. Got him on a deal.
Because if you had to give that man an extension after this run,
After this,
yeah,
he'll be the highest paid person on campus.
Today's price would not have been
No.
Yeah, the same as yesterday's price. But Notre Dame fans, relax. I think it's
Marcus Freeman, if I was Marcus Freeman, I would have held out.
It is very smart. If I look at it from the opposite point of view, it's very smart of the Bears to recognize the attributes of Marcus Freeman and how well he has handled some of the things that you have to deal with as a head coach in Notre Dame that no one else in this country has to deal with.
Nobody else has to deal with it. Yeah.
And he's handled it with grace. Sometimes he's been too honest. He's young, swaggy, leader of men. He's a culture builder. That's literally everything that the Bears should be looking for.
Yeah.
They should be looking for. And the truth of the matter is, if Mike Vrabel had not been offered the New England job, the Bears more than likely would have really thought about pulling the trigger on him.
Oh, for sure.
That's some things that I've heard.
He fits the Bear kind of mindset.
That's some things that I've heard. So much to do about nothing, in my opinion, concerning Marcus Freeman and the interest from the Chicago Bears. Much to do about nothing. I don't think anybody has to worry about anything, and Marcus Freeman is more focused on January the 20th than he is interviewing for an NFL job.
Yeah, he probably caught that word through a secondary source. It wasn't like he's just on the phone with the Bears, and I mean, he's thinking about clearly what big moment for him.
Absolutely.
The team. And the way he's talked about it, I think he should stay in line where you can stay focused on what he's able to keep it the main thing. He hasn't taken the bait, for instance, of the first coach and what this means and his ability to get there. He's always been real locked in on this is a team thing. We play together, win together, lose together. So his focus through the way he's handled these questions has just been great. It's been great.
Why do people, I'm just looking at the conversation in the chat. Why do people think that money proves that you stand behind your word?
I don't understand. That's what they run to.
Like, place a bet. What? First of all, I'm not a betting man.
I mean, they run to the bets.
I've never been a betting man, and I can't be pressured into bet. My word is my word.
These people is rich.
I say what I believe.
Ohio State fans are rich, man. I don't know. They just
putting money behind it doesn't mean a thing.
They think that shuts the conversation up,
That's kind of scary, man.
Bet $100. Can we talk about the game? Bet $200.
That's the way you feel?
I don't think they're gonna win. Bet $1,000.
It's funny, man.
That's
Like that's
explains
the
how they got a
go-to.
$20 million roster. That's all they talk about. Money and roster. Pay
I thought
this.
respect came from being a man or woman of your word. It
Not with
used to
these.
be that simple. It used to be that simple.
Hmm.
It used to be that simple.
You didn't have to bet 1,000 on it.
Nah, nah, nah. Well, that's Marcus Freeman. Let's talk about it, Left. Let's talk about the path. What has impressed you the most about Ohio State in their 3 games? Tennessee, the demolition of Oregon in the Rose Bowl, and then their matchup against Texas
I
down in
just think
Dallas on last Friday night.
they've done a great job with the fact that the style of fight fit them in all three.
Hmm.
And it goes back to what I've said about the playoff teams, especially their quarterbacks. Notre Dame and maybe Boise. Yeah, outside of Notre Dame and Boise, every other team, if their quarterback didn't have a good day, you most likely won. The 3 teams that Ohio State played leading into this game, run presence wasn't a threat. Played right into their hands. You got to see the full extent of how nice Jim Knowles' defense is with the different fronts and how these guys pin their ear back and great pass rushers. But Tennessee depended on Nico, and they did a great job pressuring him. He got some plays off, but overall, game overwhelming. I like that the fact that when they're supposed to win, they're going to win the game. But I do think that when they meet the style in which we feel like we're pretty comfortable in, we was comfortable in it the last 2 years we played them. It became a game where, in my opinion, we made our own mistakes is why we didn't win. So what am I most impressed with? I'm most impressed with the fact that they got hot and played to what they're good at against teams that they had that advantage over, and they didn't waver. I think they bounced back from a loss like the one they had against Michigan. They most likely used it as motivation to prove that that wasn't the team that's going to make this run in the second season, and they did that. I think they did a better job of, in my opinion, coaching in these type of situations that it's a playoff game. Uh, but I mean, outside of that, I think that this is the matchup that Notre Dame needs to validate the rest of what we feel like we knew we could do and be at. And this is considered one of the best teams to be able to, with the most hype. You know, we talked about the face of college football being Georgia. The second face will be Ohio State, in my opinion. And I think that to face both of them, you get a full completion of you had to go through all the best teams to win it, to be a champion. And I think it's perfect for where it lines up. But, you know, I still think there's just tons of things you can point out about where Ohio State, you know, maybe overlooking them or overvaluing themselves at. Where Notre Dame, I just think we fit right in the pocket of the things that they do well and the things we do well. I think we fit right in the pocket. But like I said, it's going to be a great matchup. This is literally the best of the best. I'm rooting actually for Carnell and Styles, um, Lorenzo Styles,
Right.
and who else am I rooting for on that team? A couple guys.
But you root for Sonny and Renzo.
Yeah. The Styles brothers, Tate.
Shout out to their pops.
Shout out to them. And it's an awesome story about Lorenzo, too, you know, being in a quasi position at Notre Dame, trusting himself to play a whole nother position at a high, you know, class, high value program, and then be on a team that's going to the championship. I mean, that's probably everything he probably could have wanted and imagined leaving Notre Dame is be able to play Notre Dame for all the marbles. So
he's probably ecstatic for his brothers.
Oh man,
you remember when Lorenzo left the program without getting into it? When Lorenzo Styles decided to transfer, had nothing to do It had really nothing to do with Coach Freeman. It had nothing to do with his brothers.
Right, exactly.
It
So
was a
it's
totally
just
different, isolated situation. I felt like he made, like I said, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole.
but just a great decision.
We supported him.
We support him, yeah.
And making the move. You know
So
what I'm
I'm a
saying?
big
Maybe
fan.
not some things that surrounded it, but we supported him making the move. I'm ecstatic to see him playing, making plays, special teams, playing nickel in the secondary. Like you said, switching positions. Sonny is
Just
man,
been
Sonny's
balling. Been balling, yeah. He's been
balling, you know. And shout out to Zoe Senior, man, who is always from the day one that we started the podcast, backed us. So Joe
Yeah,
Papini, super chat.
CJ Hicks, shout out my linebacker at all
linebacker. Yep.
CJ Hicks. So there's a bunch of guys I'm excited to see play. Now, I think we're going to win, but it's not, you know, I see it as a
You're
win.
not supposed to say that. You're supposed to be scared of the Notre Dame fan.
Yeah,
You're not supposed to pick. You're not supposed to pick your school. You're not supposed to do that.
Yeah, I'm seeing it as a win-win.
You're not supposed to believe. You're not supposed to believe in your boys.
Yeah, that
You know
there's nothing we can do.
Your brotherhood. You're not supposed to believe in your brotherhood. You're supposed to pick against them.
I don't. Yeah, these guys.
Think about a Notre Dame football player saying that Notre Dame's not going to win the national championship.
Yeah, that's what makes it so crazy. Like, what you want me to say?
It's weird, man. It's weird. Yeah. It's just the way people think is weird nowadays. Joe Papiti, thank for the super chat. I don't get it. Buckeye fans wanted Dave's head. Now he's the next coming. Frauds, go Irish, beat Buckeyes.
Yeah, it's so much fraudulent things that happen.
I won't even go that far to call it fraudulent. That's fandom, bro. That's like
it's fraudulent things that happen in the program.
In the moment you say some things, and then it's like you realize, like, you know what? Look, how do you know some of the things I said after the NIU game? I was like, yo, that's
we've been honest.
That's unacceptable. Like, flat out. Before I even got to the players, I'm like, Marcus Freeman, that's unacceptable in year 3. Just flat out unacceptable. Can't have it. I didn't have to go to the players. Straight stars at the top. Losing to that team in year 3, that's unacceptable. And so Ohio State fans probably felt the same way after the Michigan game. 4 consecutive losses, you know, and this was one of the worst Michigan teams in that 4-year span, or the worst. I'm sure they felt the way. That's just part of being a fan, man. The emotions, they flare up. You say things. And this is the thing about it. See, this is why. Let's talk about their quarterback, which both of us have said. See, this is what people hear what they want to hear. Both of us have said he's a good quarterback.
Yeah, he's good.
He's a good quarterback. He's a byproduct of a system that's already been in place in the passing game. There isn't a quarterback that comes through Ohio State that's not going to put up numbers. That's not impressive.
It's not impressive.
That's not impressive. What I will say is and what the same thing that I am extremely impressed with Riley Leonard about, their ability and their mental toughness to be able to respond to tough moments. Both of them have shown that they have that mental aptitude and toughness.
Yeah,
that has to be applauded. That's leadership, and that's fine. But don't sit here and tell me if you line up Will Howard with like the list of quarterbacks that's come through Ohio State, he's going to be in the top 5. That's not true. That's not true. That's not true. And I don't have to place a bet to prove that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's not a bet that's going to. It's the truth. It's the truth.
It is what it is.
That's not hating. That's not lying.
And that's giving flowers to the heritage of quarterbacks.
Of Ohio State's quarterbacks. That's what I'm saying. It's been such a high standard that Will doesn't compare to that. And that's okay. I'm not disrespecting him. It's true. He's not as good as the quarterbacks they've had. And it goes back a long time. I'm using that as an example to say it's going to take a lot more to beat Al Golden's defense than a guy that has been better than the 15 quarterbacks through the years it's been. And that's okay. That's the challenge they got to go. improve. Me saying it doesn't mean Will it can't go out there and play good. I hope he doesn't think that what I'm saying is motivating him for the national championship. That's crazy. That's crazy.
That's crazy. And then Jonathan, dude, you don't understand nuanced conversation. Building blocks, line upon line, precept upon precept. It takes someone that's able to hear.
They argue like
not project what you want to hear, but actually hear what's being said. So go back and listen to what I said or what we said after the Tennessee game, and it still stands. Ryan Day was in trouble if he did not make a run to the national championship.
Period. He had no way of staying at
He was in trouble with the fan base. Period. I stand on that. That's not changing a thing. But that doesn't change the fact that some of the things that people were saying was a little bit too much, had a little bit too mustard on it.
Y'all have already questioned his recruiting ability at quarterback, his development at quarterback.
Ohio State recruits itself, bro. John Cooper recruited 5 stars to Ohio State. Earl Bruce recruited 5 stars to Ohio State recruits itself. That's one of the issues that coaches had, like Jim Harbaugh had with Ryan Day. Like, bro, it's not you. The brand and the school recruits itself. It's not you. Quarterbacks at Ohio State are going to put up numbers. It's not Will Howard. Don't inflate who he is. He's a good quarterback. He is not C.J. Stroud. He's not. He's not. Stop.
And that's saying a lot. C.J. Stroud's
and when somebody points out these things, not dissing Ohio State, literally saying, yo, I support Ryan Day not being fired. Like, yo, you're overreacting. But I do understand that the standard at Ohio State by which you fired John Cooper, who was winning Rose Bowls, you fired him because he could not beat Michigan. And if that is the standard,
that's the standard.
State, then Ohio State is well within their means to say, yo, Ryan Day, you might need to go.
And wasn't it the great Woody Hayes said, if you lose to Michigan, the season's a failure anyway.
The greatest coach, well, that's debatable whether it's him
arguably,
or Urban.
Arguably. Yeah, Urban, but Urban understood the mission. He never lost to Michigan.
Man,
he's never lost to Michigan. He understood the mission.
No, man, that fan base is so uptight. Like, relax, man. You can't even take compliments from other fans.
Can't even take compliments because y'all just
can't even take a full conversation that gives compliments and then talks about some of the things that aren't good.
But that's insecurity.
It's called a full-ranging conversation that covers everything. So I can talk about, yo, Ryan Day, like, nah, this ain't it. And then I can come over here and say, yo, that's a darn good job. You got your team to respond.
You got your team to get the championship.
Respond.
Yes.
That's good, but you still got some things to prove.
Yeah, but you still 0-4 to Michigan. You still like
put money on it.
Yeah, that's their response. That's crazy.
I do.
That's crazy.
Literally, this lets you know if people don't listen. I literally said I'm not a betting man. It doesn't matter what we bet. I don't bet. My word is my word. That's it. My grandfather and my father raised me like that. I don't need a substitute or a proxy for my word. My word is my word. And regardless of whether or not I'm right or wrong, I'm going to be right here on this screen, January 21st. Right here.
With a victory.
I'll wait until January the 19th to give my prediction. I'll wait to give my prediction. I am more impressed. The two things that I think both of these teams have shown left. This is my side of it. What impresses me the most about Ohio State? Just like Notre Dame, their offensive line has suffered a lot of injuries and gone through a lot of transitions. I remember speaking with Luke Montgomery when he was making his decision and Notre Dame was in his top 4 schools, having conversations with his dad. His dad was really honest too. He's one of the most honest parents I've spoken to covering recruiting. And to watch him become a valuable piece, you know, because you talk to these kids, you get to know them. Some of them you're like, some of their parents you're like, the Montgomerys, really cool people, man, really good people. And to see him playing really well, I'm impressed by what they've done with that offensive line, bro. Because it was a trouble spot at some point during this season. The storyline with the offensive lines are very similar with Notre Dame. You know, losing your starting left tackle in the fall and Notre Dame. You know, Ohio State, they had to move their best offensive lineman out to tackle because the backup tackle wasn't getting the job done. So Donovan Jackson has to move from the interior to the tackle position and actually has played very well. Played very well. He's improved his value and his stock value, in my opinion, by showing that he has that versatility. So that's what stood out to me. That's what stood out to me. The pass pro for them. I think Texas started to get Colin Simmons has put pressure just on about everybody, the freshman from Texas. He's just really good.
Yeah, yes.
Right. But their offensive line and their pass pro has been really solid. The one thing about Ohio State offensive lines is you really can't sit there and give a fair assessment. This is just my opinion, watching from afar, right? Because Ryan Day is so inconsistent when it comes to running the rock, I really can't tell too much about their run block. I can't tell because he won't commit to it.
No, he won't.
Right? You know, but they're good enough with the running backs that they have, which are two.
They can
Yeah, they can. You don't have to tell Notre Dame. You don't have to tell Notre Dame fans about Travion Henderson.
Yeah, I just don't think they're going to commit enough to create a balance. Like I think they're going to really depend on we can out throw these guys, yada yada yada. Because I don't think that they're going to rely on having a strong run game. I didn't see it last time they played this. I didn't see it. So I mean
Travion around the left end.
Yeah, but we're talking about.
You're going to consistency though. Yeah, you can pop the big play, but they're not about to wear you out. They're not about to run the ball 42 times like Penn State. And Penn State ran the ball for 200 yards. They did a phenomenal job, and they didn't do it coming right at Notre Dame. They did a great job of getting to the edge formationally and outnumbering Notre Dame, right? And using motion and running the stretch play. They definitely watched a lot of Northern Illinois film. And it wasn't until the second half that Notre Dame made the adjustment. And as Marcus Freeman said, they stopped playing fit ball in the first half, and they started playing more north and south and getting upfield and breaking up that stretch and forcing the running backs to make a move early because they would penetrate. They had to be aggressive, and they were setting the edge much better. I think Penn State had 3 rushing yards in that third quarter. They ended up with like 40-something yards rushing in the second half, which lets you know how dominant that offensive line was against the Notre Dame defensive line early with their stretch play. But it wasn't like they were just running downhill at Notre Dame. It was literally the same game plan that Northern Illinois used, which was really smart by Andy Kolenik. Very smart on his part. Very smart on his part. And Notre Dame made the adjustment. But you can't be that vulnerable defensively against the run early against the Buckeyes. That's something that they're going to have to shore up. But once again, I just don't trust Ryan Day to just get behind his big guys up front and say, we're going to wear Notre Dame down. He's never been that committed to the run game. I definitely don't see Ohio State running the ball 42 times in the national championship game. But it's going to be interesting. But that's what's impressed me the most on this run. the shift and the change that Ohio State had to make along the offensive line midway through the season. Donovan Jackson going out to tackle, playing fantastic. Kids like Luke Montgomery coming in. I think, if I'm not mistaken, somebody in the chat, if you got a Ohio State fan in the chat, I believe it was Luke Montgomery after Travion Henderson got that personal foul on that first half drive by headbutting a Texas lineman. I think it was Luke Montgomery that kind of grabbed him by the helmet and said some words to him. And you saw Travion Henderson shake his head before running off to the sideline. So, man, I'm impressed by that offensive line, Left. I'm definitely impressed by the offensive line. Lucky Lefty podcast. So, Left, what for you is going to be the main concern? What's going to be the main concern or concerns with your early take on what you've seen from Ohio State in the playoffs? What's your main concern or concerns moving forward in this game on January the 20th? I think Left stepped away. I'll give mine, and then Left, he'll come back in and give his. My main concern, of course, low-hanging fruit. Low-hanging fruit is the wide receivers. And so the legacy of wide receivers at Ohio State, it speaks for itself. That's why I said it's low-hanging fruit. My concern is, I know it won't happen, but my concern would be Ryan Day actually commits to the run. Ryan Day actually commits to the run, and Ohio State runs the ball 30 to 35 times. Including Will Howard using his legs more in design runs, which they saved that against Texas until that big fourth down conversion. But if they did that, I would really worry about that kind of countering what Al Golden wants to do from a pressure standpoint. I would worry about that. But like I said, I don't think Ohio State would commit to that many rushes. So I'm going to say my main concern, honestly, which is crazy, but as much as I stick up for the offensive line in big moments, my main concern is going to be the offensive line. And it's not the offensive line in pass pro. It's not the offensive line in pass pro. The offensive line needs to come out early, and they need to run the ball. We don't need a halftime speech from Marcus. Absolutely. This is funny. I literally just got a text from Styles Senior. I'll hit him back at this show. But no, that's just show, like, dude, we love and respect Ohio State, man. Like, all this fake feud, this fake beef, like, ain't no beef, man. Like, dude, we got too many family connections, too much love for the people up there in Columbus, bro. One of my favorite, when I was in Illinois, it was when I was a student and I would get the tickets, the comp tickets from Illinois football players. Columbus was one of my favorite. Columbus and Michigan State were my two favorite road games to go to. Penn State was the worst. It was the worst. But I love going to East Lansing and Columbus. But getting back to what I was saying, I'm just worried about, man. I'm just worried about establishing this run game early, man. It has to happen. It has to happen, man. Like, we cannot come out struggling to run the ball. We can't. And the crazy thing is, and Sean McDonough, if you watch the broadcast, Sean McDonough said this early in the third quarter. He was like, yo, the backups have come in and played better on the O-line than the starters for Notre Dame. Which leads me to Anthony Knapp, who, Charles Jagusah was starting left tackle. He gets injured in fall camp, torn pec. He's out for the year. Anthony Knapp, true freshman, wins the battle. for the left tackle position over Emil Wagner and Tosh Baker, senior Tosh Baker. They end up starting 2 freshmen, Pendleton, redshirt freshman, and Anthony Knapp at Texas A&M. That's all people talked about going to that game. Texas A&M is going to kill them with 2 freshmen on the left side. Notre Dame found a way to win on the road. Anthony Knapp is definitely one of their best run blockers. He's definitely going to be missed. He's definitely going to be missed after the ankle injury against Penn State. But we have to remember that Tosh Baker, after Jagasaw got injured, he was looked upon as the guy that was going to be next in line. He was looked at, he's the guy. Because even going into fall camp, coming out of spring, Tosh Baker was presumed to be the starting right tackle, and Emil Wagner eventually beat him. So what you have is someone that has been coached by the best. Not only Coach Rudolph, but he's been coached by Harry Hiestand. His foundation. He's played games. Remember, before Joe Alt got his opportunity at left tackle, it was Tosh Baker that got the opportunity, didn't play well. Joe Alt then came in and got the opportunity. And Joe Alt, the rest was history for that young man. He's in the NFL playing right tackle for Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers right now. So Tosh Baker is not someone that will be unprepared or intimidated. But I need him to be better in the run game. I need him to get a better push. I need him to be able to seal. I'm interested. I don't know the word. JT got injured for the Buckeyes against Texas. That was, man, his ankle was like parallel to the ground. That was tough. And the fact that they taped it up and he came back and played, it's going to be very interesting how the Buckeyes, because at that point they moved Jack Sawyer to the other side, and then they brought JT and played him less snaps than he probably would play, but he came back in the game the second half and played pretty well. That ankle still might be a little tender, but, the layoff will give him time to rehab and be good. That's my concern. How do you establish the run knowing that Ohio State, which plays a ton of cover too, but they also like to blitz a lot? Because what we saw with Penn State, I think you might see some remnants of it brought over from the Penn State game. And I definitely think Jim Knowles is going to try to use some blitzes from the exterior by defensive backs or safeties to kind of set that edge and funnel the Notre Dame run game into that line. Georgia was able to do it without committing safeties and defensive backs. I mean, they're just that good. That Georgia, they just, I was really shocked that Riley didn't pull the ball earlier in that Georgia game, because once he started doing it late in the game, Notre Dame had great success because Georgia was just pinching with their defensive ends, man. And they Anthony Knapp had a tough game against Georgia. He had a tough game. So for me, offensive line establishing the run is my main concern. That's my main concern, because we don't need to be going an entire first half without being able to run the ball and putting the ball in Riley's hand in the passing game.
Yeah, I think that became more of we just wasn't committed to it. I think we got scared off of it once we saw first couple unsuccessful runs, and we thought good old reliable, get us out of a funk. But I do think that our strategy is very similar to how we need to be able to attack like a Georgia football team, where the D-line is the best strength of their defense. And for us to find different ways to chip them, right? Like, what did we do to Georgia? It wasn't a bunch of extreme runs. It was like Riley get 5, Darian get 3, Jeremiah might get 8, and Riley get like a tough second and long. He makes it 3rd and 6. So to be able to chip away and commit to the run game is something I think it would be our strength, because like we saw from the Michigan and Ohio State game, and even some of the other games that they played in is that if you can tire that D line out, if you can commit to getting consistent runs at their ends, that's just going to naturally slow them down because they're gearing up for it to be a 3rd and long. They're gearing up for it to be a no way up but a pass down. Right? They want to be able to position you where you have to drop back and throw the football. If they can make you drop back and throw the football and get you off your square in the run game, that's exactly where Ohio State's greatness shows. That's exactly where Texas couldn't overcome. Because in my opinion, I think Texas, a great finesse team, a team that does a lot of different make you looks and misdirections. But their weakness, which Georgia exposed, was the physicality. No different than Oregon. All that cute spread and throw it out and be quick and fancy fast receivers. And Georgia got the athletes and the pseudo offensive line as superstar. And the physicality is what disrupts those teams. When they started hitting Quinn Ewers, they saw it on the Georgia tape. They even hit Arch one time and made him fumble. That type of physicality, now you start to water down what do they really do, and they depend on their quarterback. And once Ohio State knows that you're depending on your quarterback to dig you out of a hole, to get you down the field quick, where you have no way out but pass situations, that's where you start to see Jack Sawyer and number 44 and all these guys start to make these great plays because you're playing right into their hands. That's the style they want you in. Indiana got down. When Indiana got down, things got tough. When they gave up a crazy muffled punt, when they let the guy run the ball all the way back, now Ohio State's like, okay, we got him. Now we give them exotic blitzes. Now we pass rushing them. No, the quarterback is a statue. Perfect. He's a statue. All we got to do is beat the tackle one-on-one because we know they have to pass to get down the field. But what Ohio State also did was let you run the football. It wasn't until Indiana had to throw and the blunders they had on special teams, that's exactly what Ohio State wins with. What happened? What happened against Texas? Texas had to throw. They made some silly mistakes, and Ohio State capitalized. I want to wait for the game where Ohio State just outright just obliterates the other team. And you could say that was Oregon. I think it was more Oregon than it was Ohio State that game. Oregon just refused to adjust. They acted like they.
I told you after I watched them up at Camp Randall, they were leaking oil. They were leaking oil.
Pressure being one that long, and
they weren't the same team.
No, they didn't. It was a shell of themselves. And Ohio State just exposed it. I mean, I don't even think Oregon, they didn't show up to that game. There's no way you can say Oregon showed up to that game. There's no way. So Ohio State's path, well-deserved, but at the end of the day, the teams they played was geared for the style of football they're geared for. Who else ran the ball over 28 times like Michigan against Ohio State? You're not gonna get that from Sark. I can tell you that before you even play the game.
You know what you get. They are. I'm trying to think. They are the Mike Tyson of college football.
Absolutely.
If you can survive the first 3 rounds,
you can take them to that deep water.
The first quarter and a half against Ohio State, just like Mike Tyson. If you can make it through the first 3 rounds, okay, now you got a shot.
Yeah, if you can
start doing
slow the pass rush, you can start slow roasting your run game, and now they in the game. When you got Jack Sawyer fighting for a pass or a run, now you in the game. When they can lock in and be like, "Oh, you're down 21. Oh, it's turn up time. Oh, it's turn up." You have nothing. You have nothing for it.
Jack Sawyer, and JT.
It's like okay, you're doing exactly what we want you to do.
Mm-hmm.
Game's almost out of reach. Oh yeah, we know what you got it. Oh yeah, one-dimensional. Ohio State, they make you one-dimensional. Okay, and I say vice versa. If Ohio State can get some semblance of a Penn State run effect, and Will Howard is better than the average, he don't even got to be great. If he's just better than what 15 from Penn State was, we're going to be in trouble. Because there was tons of guys running wide open. I just knew 15 on the Freaky Lions was terrible. I just knew he was terrible. So he wasn't going to hit them even if they was standing still. If Will can at least do that, it's going to be that's what's going to make it a game.
You kill me with this Freaky Lions stuff.
It's Freaky Lions. But if I'm over here, if we're not letting Travion Henderson get off like we didn't when we played them with CJ Stroud, they can't pull a CJ Stroud out of a hat this game. Hell, they can't even pull Kyle McCord out of a hat this game. Because both games, the run game until the fourth quarter of the first time we played them with CJ Stroud and the one or two runs we gave up late the last year. What do you really have from a run game from Ohio State? We know Ryan Day's not going to commit. He's looking to run in spots.
See, that's what I'm saying. That's why I respect what that offensive line has done with everything that's transpired. It's a similar story to Notre Dame's offensive line, man. You have to give kudos because everything starts with the trenches.
That's
everything
right.
starts. I don't care how talented they are, wide receiver. You don't protect.
You don't protect, and then you're confusing him with the fronts and the blitzes that outgo. Will Howard doesn't stand. That's what I'm saying. If Will Howard he was averaging a certain amount, or he was a top tier passer. If he was just a top tier passer, forget even being. If he was a 4,000 yard passer like he should be, with the talent he has, now I'm worried because you can't do all the freaky blitzes and all that when you got a run game and a quarterback that's halfway decent. But if Will Howard can throw for 350 yards, I don't mind saying that I was wrong. But I know he's not just going to pull that out of nowhere. Like, come on. He's not. So if we get on that running game and it comes down to Will Howard having to perform and take the team down to win and Jeremiah Smith and all, that's exactly what we want.
The extension of the run game for them, which you can say what you want to say. Ryan Day, Chip Kelly, their screen game
is great.
It's superb.
Their screen game is really
good. When they call it, but most second down is really when they like to call it.
And Penn State caught us on second down blitzes. And Penn State caught us on second down creative.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
So now, yes.
Al might not have to see a lot of people. Dude, Notre Dame is not about to change who they are.
No. We're going to come. We're definitely going to come.
But they might go against tendency in this game, right? Yeah. So we're going to do what we do, but we're going to switch it up when we do it and how we do it, right? Because that's the chess matchup between Al Gold and then Chip Kelly's first 15. That's why Ohio State, first quarter, if you could survive that, first quarter, Texas, once Texas survived, but the survival for Texas really wasn't about what Texas was doing.
Yeah.
That was about Ohio State penalties. Mistakes, drop passes, Cardell with the drop pass in the end zone. All that type of stuff, they really kind of like stumped their own toe.
Yeah.
They should have had more points in a bigger lead. They kept Texas in the game, and then once Ohio State hit that lull that they're known to do because
they're just known to do.
This is why, ladies and gentlemen, I don't care what type of fan you are, man. You cannot sit here and tell me that Ryan Day maximizes the talent he has year to year. He just does not.
He just doesn't.
And if you're not going to be honest enough about that, then fine.
It's hard to have conversation about it. It's hard.
That's fine, bro. The firepower he has offensively.
There's no way you have a 3,300 yard passer. It's just.
And I know Trey has been injury prone. Travion and Quinshawn should be putting up.
But that's all activated through the quarterback. You don't have 10 picks and 3,300 yards with the best receiver core and a top 10 running back room. Like, what are we talking about? Kyle McCord threw for almost 45 or something ridiculous yards at Syracuse, man. At Syracuse. You can't tell me that you got better with a guy with worse stats. So that tells me development. And that secretly has been the issue that they don't want to talk about.
As a quarterback, is there one thing that he does, in your opinion, that has helped Ohio State that Cal McCord didn't do? Just watching him.
No. I think he's just a great person to plug into a position where you can have everything at access. And when you have more, it's no different than the realization that Tua might be better for Bama than Jalen Hurts. Because when you got an individual more talented player than the other guy, that'll show even on a good team. That'll show. There's certain things that it's just find it hard for Kyle to do.
I do think he gives an element with his legs.
Element of what? He's not fast.
No, you can use him in the run game. You can give him. Kyle McCord wasn't going to run the ball in the run game.
But Kyle McCord's
what did they go to in the fourth quarter? What did they go to on 4th and 1? Who did they get a ball to? They gave the ball to Will Howard on the quarterback run. He stumbled over himself. That was kind of funny. I'm like, bro,
Kyle McCord's abilities that fits Ohio State is way more fit than anything Will can make better. Ohio State is based out of having superstar receivers with a solid run game.
Be honest, Kyle McCord does not fit Chip Kelly's type of quarterback, though.
But it does. Kyle McCord and Nick Foles.
Chip wants somebody that can run the ball.
No, he doesn't. Nick Foles was the most successful quarterback under Chip Kelly.
Talking about NFL. We talking about college. He don't have a choice in the NFL, bro. That's totally different. Name a college quarterback for him that could not run the ball. Well, he had Dante.
Dante Moore was doing nice when he was with Chip at UCLA.
But that's not the offense he wants it. Chip prefers for his offense to have a quarterback that can run the ball. I'm not saying he can't call plays.
Yeah, I think Will can run around. I don't think Will's special ability is running. I think because he's big, he can fall forward.
But it just adds another layer.
I don't think what he adds is more than what Kyle McCord would add, considering
Ohio State better running the football than Cal. Come on.
No, I'm saying he can. I'm conceding that he can probably get a few more yards than Kyle McCord, but in terms of quarterback that fits what Ohio State's great at, I think that the passing makes more of a difference in an offense at Ohio State than anything that Will can do with his run, because it's not like Will's the best running quarterback in the country either. If he had this superstar running ability like a Braxton Miller or whatever may have you of the best running quarterback, then I would say, yes, Will is a great fit for their situation. I just think Kyle's the best fit for Ohio State out of the two, because Kyle will give you 40-something.
He's a better passer. He's a better pure passer.
But you got Jeremiah Smith, the best receiver in college football, debatably top 5. You got Ibuka, who's been a top 10 receiver drafted the last, 2 years. You got Carnell Tate, who's a great player in addition to that room. You got guys, the tight ends are undoubtedly.
That's going to be one of the key matchups.
Yeah, the tight ends are pretty big and fast.
No, G. Scott,
receiver.
See, tight end's going to be a problem.
Receiver, yeah.
Because the tight end was a problem against Penn State.
G. Scott is going to have.
I will say this. Well, first of all, Tyler Warren against anybody is a mismatch.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're not going to see that.
Yeah, you're not seeing that again. I know X is like, man, I'm glad I'm done with that dude.
Yeah, oh my gosh. Like, dude, he's he's first of all, he's fast, he's big, and he plays tough. He ran over Xavier Watts to get that first down. Crazy. But he's 6'7", so it's like he's going to be good in the league. Yeah. He did as good as he can do.
G. Scott is not,
he's not that, but G. Scott, he's a converted receiver.
They use him strategically. They have one play where it's a 3-by-1 set. They have the guy, the receivers clear out, And they always bring him underneath.
Yeah,
On a
he's
drag route.
faster than a tight end would be, so it's a good matchup to get him in space. But that's something to think. So they got pieces like that. My whole thing is, okay, you're doing that, but that means and that requires Will Howard to play at another level as well. That requires Will Howard to be completing in the 28-30 ranges because that's what it would take, in my opinion, against a secondary that's just not going to let Jeremiah Smith get 7 receptions for almost 200 yards. It's just not. I don't see that happening.
Right. Let me stop for a second. I'm gonna say this again, man. All right. We have fun on this show, but the one thing we don't do is insults, whether it's in the chat. So I don't know who this is. Bay Area Buckeye, you can bounce. We don't do that insult, low IQ stuff. Just bounce, man. If you're not intelligent enough to enjoy conversation that you can disagree with and talk with other fans from both fan bases and fan bases across the nation, then just leave. That's it. We don't do insults. We don't allow people to insult people in the chat. We call it out. If you want to sit here and listen and talk to others in the chat and disagree, you're more than welcome. But we don't do these insults, bro. That's not the spirit that we have a show in. You can go find other content creators that want to have animosity. We didn't build our podcast on that. We're not going to start doing it today. I don't care what the matchup is.
Yeah.
So.
But even still, I do feel like this is a great opportunity for us, because it is matchup issues that potentially could be a problem. But then it goes, like I said, if we are taking away the run game, if we are limiting their run game and get them off of the square of so my thing is, if we limit their run game, it's going to put the pressure on Will Howard to perform. Is his consistency going to be good enough to beat a secondary that's been stingy all season? That's the matchup I'm looking for. They have some mismatches, an inexperienced linebacker core versus a couple of tight ends that can move around.
This is a good point. No, go ahead and finish your point. But I want to.
Yeah, and obviously, they have a superstar receiver, which I think game plan wise, we're going to believe in ourselves on some of these plays now. It ain't going to be like how y'all try to fabricate the Texas thing where they got this triangle defense on. We're going to man up Jeremiah Smith at some point in the game because that's who we are. Christian Gray has been battle tested for weeks now. So you're going to see it on film. You're going to see it in the game. Don't act like, oh, we singled him up man to man. Now it's an automatic touchdown. No, Christian Gray has given up some penalties, but has some game-saving plays, playmakers all season. So we can live.
Venture to say, like I said, he's not going to change.
No, we're not going to do no freaking.
They're going to play man to man
at some point.
Their safety is going to be very important in this game, right? Because I venture that they will have. Oh, dude, this is Al Golden has gone up against this. Yes. Jeremiah Smith, and I'm not saying who's better, who's not. This is not what I'm saying. Jeremiah Smith is playing the same role that Marvin Harrison Jr. has played.
Yes, it's a position.
If you go back and watch those games, Notre Dame left Benjamin Morrison the vast majority of the time on Marvin Harrison one-on-one. And they had help over the top to take that away. I believe Al Golden was probably going to do the same thing. Al Golden has faced Ohio State with elite receivers 2 times already, and the Notre Dame defense has played well in both games. He has a more talented defense now than he had in those 2 previous matchups. He definitely has a more talented secondary than he had in those 2 matchups. So, for me left, Jordan Clark versus Carnell Tate becomes
a matchup.
very important. You and I talked about this.
Yeah.
My frustration is I think that's a matchup that Ohio State can really take advantage of. Definitely take advantage of week to week. Like I said, Carnell dropped a touchdown last week. So, they went to him early. Carnell was very effective early. And I've seen them do that a lot this year. They'll go to Carnell early because teams are taking Jeremiah away and using the linebackers to bracket Ibuka on the inside. They'll get him off early, and then they'll just forget about him.
And just forget about him.
They'll just forget about him, right?
They'll just leave him out. They'll leave him in the boundary.
Let me tell you something. As a Bulls fan, bro, I didn't care if anybody else took a shot. As long as that dude 23 is on the court, if he took 50 shots, I ain't even care left. I'm gonna keep it a buck.
That's right.
Some people be like, man, that dude shot 50 times. Hey, let that dude shoot. So I understand. If I was a quarterback and I had 4 on the outside, he's my first look every snap. I don't care how many people are sticking. Like, man, let me find this dude, give him the ball. He's different. He's different. What he's doing as a true freshman, I would love one of those under the Notre Dame tree. You know what I'm saying? And
what he's doing is a great
recruiting signing day.
Yeah, he's a great contributor to the team, man, and it speaks to why he said he went there.
Man.
He said he went there because he can be around other receivers that are great, can push him. Felt like it was a competitive room. All the things that he spoke about as to why he's there, him being there, you're starting to see it, and he's playing a huge role, not only in this game but just as a compliment to what everybody else is giving the other receivers and all this and that. So
I remember you hitting me from the Elite 11. You were out there watching. You were telling me about CJ and how he was, competing. And you hit me and you were like, dude, this Jeremiah Smith kid is out here catching passes, bro. Like, forget the quarterbacks. Like, this dude is still in the show at a quarterback competition. Like, everybody's buzzing about this kid. I remember you saying that, and I'm like, I see him show up, and I'm like, sheesh. This is what you're doing. The fact that it was between, I believe, Ohio State and Oregon, where the teams he had to decide between. His decision came down to those two schools. I definitely think that swung the pendulum towards Ohio State, because I can only imagine if Jeremiah Smith was playing for Oregon with Evan Stewart. Oh, dude, that would have been bananas as well. So,
oh man, that's what I'm saying. I mean, so they got guys that you're just gonna be like, that's just too good.
It's too good.
That's what you get when you got the right type of things going on in your program. You're just gonna get your track guys that will have Vegas telling you, yeah, that's 10.5 points, regardless of anything else. They said y'all don't got players like that, and that's fine. I think that's the matchup of ideologies once again. Got guys that are developed and taking time out to go through the process, and you get against a team that you're gonna get the top and the best of the young guys, and then you get the top and the best of the transfers. You know what I mean? So, not saying that you don't develop, but you're literally picking the top up off of all the college football landscape. You go get you a Caleb Downs, just pick him off the top. You go get you a Judkins, you pick him off the top. You're already recruiting the top young receiver. You get a Carnell Tate, you get a Jeremiah Smith. So I hate to diminish the development, but you're buying guys at they're not saying they're peak, but they're up there. Mm-hmm. So that gives a lot of confidence and a lot of arrogance to a program, because they can always say you got guys that you can't just go find. However, I do think when you're thinking about football scheme, the energetics of how things play out and the team's confidence and belief they have, I mean, this is the best Notre Dame has been in those aspects. And all the matchups I think we've had with Ohio State, I don't think they're, like you said, intimidated at all. We've taken the approach the whole season of being the bully.
Yeah.
We wasn't taking the approach of being the bully against Ohio State the last time. We were taking the approach of we can beat them if we do X, Y, and Z and T and cross our T's and dot our I's and execute and everything go right and Sam Hartman be a beast. And now it's like we got everything we need. We feel like we want to see that matchup and how we stack up. We feel like we got advantages where we may not have had it before. And our belief in Freeman and how this journey is taken, I don't see us looking at this as we're the underdogs at all, even though that's what Vegas says. And I think that conflicting change of perspective and mind flip bothers Ohio State. Because before it was a lot of convincing of, oh, we got this that they may not be ready for, and we can match this and do this. Now it's like they see us on TV doing the things to the teams they've played. They see Jeremiah Love jumping over people. They see Riley Leonard getting tough yards and our defense locking down. And so now the conversation is, okay, maybe it is true. Maybe they do got something that we haven't seen. And that's the flip that I think is going to take place in this game. And then Freeman's way more prepared. I think he's been taking all the proper steps of developing
the confidence he showed. If you get a chance, I think I've watched the semifinal in its totality 3 times, and I focused on segments of it and watching other times. If you watch, he is a totally different head coach. The way he handled the sideline the last 5 minutes, game management, situation preparation for his team, coaching, the clock management towards the end of the game, had his timeouts, didn't waste timeouts, which is something that was an issue. He has become a much better head coach. He really has. And you have to commend him on that, man. You have to commend him on that because those were issues. Those were issues early in this. That was an issue during the Northern Illinois game that he caught flack for after that game with time management and timeouts and things of that nature. He's answered the bell. And we said that. We said that he had Signetti, Kirby, and Franklin lined up. That's what we projected. You got 3 good coaches that you have to match.
These are good coaches now.
These are good head coaches that you have to match. These are about the team. Like, the players have to step up.
Players but mental stress,
too. Yes.
You got Kirby Smart, Signetti, who was the coach of the runner-up for coach of the year.
He runs his mouth a little. He got a little Don King.
And he talk a little. He'll
try to promote things. Google me. He'll talk a little bit.
Yeah, he talk about he said we fly on Friday, we win, come back. We ain't staying. We don't care about how far the trip is. I mean, but he's also a good coach because you're taking an Indiana team who's never been good. That'll make you talk a little bit more. But Indiana team never won 10 games, never been this far, never had success like this. So he can talk a little bit, and he knows some things. And then Kirby the week after. Now James Franklin, I ain't about to give him no. I mean, he's a good coach. He's a good coach.
He just, man, I'll be honest, that late game,
he's a good coach.
He hasn't gotten over the hump, man.
For all the years he's been there, hasn't gotten over the hump. That's the alarming part because at least Coach Kelly has gotten over the hump. And he's been to the promised land. He's been
it was just that, in all fairness, because, I mean, you talk about how many top 5 teams he's lost to. He accumulated those losing to Michigan and Ohio.
Against 2 teams.
Right.
And okay. It goes back to the credit
There's no shame in having a Michigan-Ohio State problem. Like,
everybody in the Big Ten has that problem.
Just like everybody used to have
the longest. Yes. Everybody else gets fired. You just happen to stay because you beat everybody else. You know what I'm saying? It's like they can't fire you because you beat everybody else. You just can't beat them. So they like, what do you need to beat them? Like,
right.
So that's a good position for him to.
Once again, this is both sides of that coin. In fairness,
And that's what I talked
he
about
has a
Ohio State.
two-team problem. But
Ohio
on the
State's
flip
had
side,
15 years of quarterbacks
bro,
that
you have to figure it out at some point. You have to.
and what did Michigan do? Cheat. I mean, come on. I mean, Michigan had to cheat to beat them. Because you telling me Harbaugh wasn't sick of Urban whooping him every year? Every
I'm
year,
sure
Urban
Ohio
is.
State fans love hearing you say that, love.
I'm just saying, but Michigan had to say, you know what, we need to cheat, and that's what the turning point happened to be. They didn't cheat ever since then, but they cheated when they felt like they needed something needed to change. That's what they went with.
Mm-hmm.
James Franklin, maybe you just ain't trying hard enough. Maybe you got to cheat one year, because clearly whatever they did to cheat that year, they figured out a formula where they're like, okay, we're not gonna cheat. We're just gonna beat y'all the way we figured it out. They ain't lost it since. Penn State just keeps losing. At some point, Jen, you've been there about as long as Harbaugh was at Michigan. Harbaugh was like, I'm going to cheat. I'm going to win. I'm going to get out of here. You still standing around getting knocked over the head every year. So it just diminishes because then they, ESPN going to make it worse. They're going to put your stats up there. You are 1-11, and they don't say 1-11 versus Michigan and Ohio State. They just say, you are 1-11 versus top 5 to good.
Jay Lamont, Super Chat. We appreciate you, my man. We win with that bully ball. No doubt. Thank you for the Super Chat. If you have a Super Chat, GTB, get it in. We'll get to it. Pilney, 35. Thank you for the Super Chat. LL getting his wish. The dream matchup. The Coach Marcus Freeman Redemption Tour. The final chapter. Go Irish, bring it home.
Marcus Freeman even answered that question right. He said, this ain't about the last time.
No.
He said, I'm just focused on the right now. I said, oh my goodness. It's me. I would have let the cat. I said, I can't wait to kick my alumni's butt. I can't wait. I can't wait to get revenge on all them years. I can't wait to do it. It's yes, all of them years I'm thinking about them. And this Marcus Freeman went up there and said, I don't even care. He said, we worried about this game, this team right now. Forget I went there. Forget Coach Trustle's my mentor. Forget all of that. It's about the team and what we finna do. I just think he's just so prepared, man. To never be in the national championship and to carry himself like I'm ready for the moment is great. Because even with James Franklin, he didn't fold. He didn't be ha he like James was. If anything, he was like, man, let me get out of here.
It was amazing to watch that awful pass interference call. And Marcus Freeman just clapped like, all right.
Because you're going to need it.
That's what we doing? He said, that we cheating? That's what we doing? Okay,
right.
we got you.
All right.
We got you. I was like, okay.
And that's and think about it, how fast and how vastly
that's a totally different reaction than we've seen in previous seasons in those type of situations.
Oh, Oklahoma State with Elston. What did he do? He sat there and did like a deer in the headlights. And just 2 years later, Marcus Freeman's laughing in a big game. This is narrative program changing win against a team like Georgia, and he's laughing. Oh, okay, I got it. Penn State semifinals before the national championship. Oh, no big deal. We got it. Mm-hmm. We just gonna keep playing. That wasn't there against Marshall. Hell, wasn't there against NIU for a big. I don't know what happened between Texas A&M losing to NIU and then the bye week for Marcus Freeman, but to be able to, I'm not gonna say be different guys, but just like Riley Leonard's development through the season, it had its glaring issues, and by the end they became issues no longer.
Yeah.
And for you to take that much change in just one season, I just think that's incredible. That only comes from buy-in, and the team is bought in with Marcus Freeman.
D-Mont, Mr. Food Level with the GTB. After Jack, Sam, Riley, do you feel more quarterbacks transfer portal trying to get into Notre Dame for that same success?
I don't know. I think, man, if a good quarterback is out there, it's hard, especially if we win, it's hard to see Marcus Freeman just abandon it totally. It is. It's hard to see him just deny like a Arch Manning. Let's say Arch Manning wants to come to Notre Dame. The cool thing is that Marcus Freeman is at Notre Dame also, because now, just like Ohio State, Notre Dame's going to recruit itself. You win a national championship at Notre Dame, everybody watching Notre Dame sees that there can be improvement at that quarterback position. I'm sure there's some transfers that's licking their chops. Licking their chops for the opportunity. Marcus Freeman probably don't have to say much. If anything, he, like Gino Gaduli said, it's going to be an exciting spring with the guys he has in the room. But it's also going to be exciting because you can shake up that room because somebody's going to come. I doubt Marcus Freeman denying good players, and the fact that we move so fast in the transfer portal just after the game, we done picked up 3, 4, 5 guys. Just that fast. I know Marcus Freeman is thinking a step ahead. He probably just wants to take his time a little bit longer with the quarterback position. Just wants to fill it out. Because last year and the year before that, we had Sam and Riley before the season was even over. Like, they was moving in.
Thanks.
So maybe this is Marcus Freeman evaluating the quarterback position with a little bit more grace. He's not just running to get the top guy off the list. Maybe he saw some things in his bowl week practices from a Kenny Minchie where he's like, you know what, we'll keep it open, right? We'll keep it open, but shoot, I don't mind competition. And hell, the way Steve has been able to play his role.
Oh, that was beautiful the way he operated.
The way that Steve, man, huge shot. I don't even think I could do that, to be honest with you.
Billy Strauss.
I got too much ego.
Recovering that fumble.
Too much ego for it. So I think
in the first half.
So I do think that the way Steve handled this is a great indicator. And Marcus Freeman, if he was thinking about it, maybe I can have it not two platoon, not put him in, take him out, put him in, but I know that I can keep guys ready. Because think about it. I think that Steve's experience of just being a senior and going through the process and being in these positions, not that it's been great, but being in the position of readiness, it was almost beautiful and almost was supposed to happen for him to get in the game at that moment. I don't think anybody else could have did a good a job as Steve did in what was asked. Because remember, we didn't have the momentum at all. We had no momentum. Steve generated momentum right before half with all passing. And it's funny because we look like a totally different offense in just one drive. Like we came out throwing passes consecutively. We ain't gonna run. We said, Steve, go throw us down the field, literally. He went 6 for 7 in one of them. And if he didn't get strip sack, he would have threw the touchdown in the corner. And then to have the humble ability to say, walk off the field and be like, you can go back in, or whatever that conversation was with him and Riley. That shows the buy-in to Marcus Freeman in the year 3 program when Steve probably felt at the beginning of the season y'all was robbing him. And for him to still be engaged 15 games later, I mean, that's really incredible. And it goes why we don't have transfers running out of the building at the end of the season. And we keep guys that want to come back. Guys wanting to come back in this climate, in this environment. Guys want to be there. And these are guys that aren't playing. Aeneas Williams could have been like, man, I'm seeing this. I can leave and go start. So he's like, this is mine. I'm in this room. We in this together. Keidron Young could probably be complaining right now. Hell, Jabron Payne, Devin Ford. Devin Ford plays safety for. He came from Penn State. What are we talking about? He came from Penn State to a deep running back room, got moved all around, never left. I mean, you can only do that when you have a program you believe in. I think it's just rare to have. I mean, I'm not saying Ohio State has guys running out of the program, but I just think that what we're bringing is a full team effort, which is why we always said that it's not about the quarterback this year. Because we're getting guys responding at all levels. That's so crazy to me. I mean, special teams been responding. Brian Young's son can probably have a whole highlight tape on just special team plays.
And we have an entire off season, but this is the beauty. This is the beauty for Notre Dame fans, right? Because people are gonna probably twist this like, oh man, you copping the plea. I'm not copping the plea. I'm really just kind of trying to like warn people that Notre Dame is still coming. Like,
Yeah.
Notre Dame is still doing this. They're still ascending.
Still
It's going to be
ascending.
a lot of freshmen and sophomores on the field.
This is a young team. This is a young
lot.
team.
You look to the sideline. It's a freshman and a sophomore in that quarterback room just waiting.
Just
Get
waiting.
Steve. It's a freshman. It's some man with some rockets, some rocket launchers on their shoulders, just sitting there waiting.
The passing will get better from the younger guys on the team.
So, yo, you know what I mean? Like, hey, and he just got one of the best safeties in the portal.
The way they talked about him.
They got you a 300-pounder at
from Louisville.
In the portal.
From Louisville.
Got you a 300-pounder left.
I mean, they listened to our podcast clearly.
Yeah, they did it for you. They did it for you. They was like, let's go get 300 pounds.
They said, listen, we're not even gonna play around. We're getting the big dudes early. Early. Not gonna wait around to see who's gonna fill in or who's gonna be a young guy. We're getting them early. And it's great to see us continue. See, this is the effect of having a very, very, very solid secondary unit by Mike Mickens. I believe the safety we got from Virginia Tech wanted to come. We did some recruiting, but he knew where he wanted to be. Especially the way they talking about him, you're only attracting great talent and responses. So I just think the moves we've made, especially the transfers we picked up defensively that fast. Then we picked up, I know we picked up Elijah Page because he was wrong for going to USC in the beginning. And I told him that. I'm like, just because you in Arizona and USC feels close, that's not home. That's not home. You have fun. But you ready to win. And so I'm glad he made that decision to come on home. I think he was a little sad. Then Brock left for a little bit. And, you know, Lincoln Riley and that Sunshine and Caleb Williams just had his head going crazy.
No, that was he knows Harry Heastand was one of the reasons.
He was upset. He was upset Heastand left.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm sorry Vikings about to lose. Sam Darnold just being Sam Darnold. I'm sorry, Vikings.
What, Matt Stafford, baby. Matt Stafford. He'll be 35.
That's the best part about football. It's like you only got to be good one game. I mean,
especially in the playoffs.
Yeah, then you get a guy like Matt Stafford who just got it. You just need him good for one game. You don't need him the whole season.
If Indy pulls this off, the storyline will be Notre Dame beat Ohio State with mostly second and third stringers. Notre Dame's mantra would be like Ed Orgeron's LSU, we coming.
So it's different, though, because
that's true.
1B. We're 1A, 1B.
That's true. It's not true.
We're 1A, 1B. I'm not going to let them fly with that.
Matt, say it again, Left.
We're 1A. We're the only team. This is the recruiting ideology difference.
He gave the vision. This is what he said when he took the job. This is what he envisioned getting to this moment. This is what he said.
Yeah, right? I look at the DB position, right? The safety position. That's a deep group, right? You talk about Houston and DJ and Brandon Joseph and Ramon and Xavier. That group will have a 1A and 1B for sure. And it's something going into the spring you probably didn't know. The D-line is extremely deep, you know, and that's with Jason not practicing, you know, but with Foskey and Justin and Howard Cross has had an unbelievable spring. I mean, an unbelievable spring. And he's done a great job, and Lacey, and I could go on, but I think the depth of our middle, right, up the middle, we're really, really deep, especially defensively, from the D-line to the linebackers to the safeties. Right up the middle, we're deep. You know, we have to continue to develop some young guys. You know, with Cam's out at corner, so we got to develop some young guys at corner. The O-line, I wouldn't say we're 1As and 1Bs yet, but I'm really, really pleased with some of those 1As. And so, again, the running back position would never be. I think up the middle, we're really, really strong, you know, and we have to continue to develop on the edges.
And see, now they've developed on the edges defensively. They're dominant on the back end. And that linebacker position has been elevated. And now they're going to the portal. They're elevating the defensive tackle position, which is a difficult position for Notre Dame to recruit because the NIL, the en route just to get a visit for a top-notch defensive tackle, that's a big check that Notre Dame is just unwilling to pay in recruiting.
Yeah, we just not going
to pay. So, you know, but this is 2 years ago when he's talking about Notre Dame ascending, he's talking about a young Howard Cross 2 years ago being one of those bees that's on the come, right?
That's
And
what I'm
now
saying. Just
it's the same thing. Riley Mills goes out during the Indiana game. He's out for the season. Gabriel Rubio and the guys, forget that Jason Onye, for personal reasons, hasn't been with the team for about 6-7 weeks now, Left. We would love for Jason Onye to be in that rotation because he was definitely a 1A,
he was
1B.
definitely on the way up. Yeah, he was on the way up.
What does Notre Dame do? Man, he has created a culture where it's no longer ones and twos. It's 1A, 1B. Next man up. Get the job done. That's why Notre Dame sits in the national championship game, because of the vision that he had when he first got the job and how he was able to go out and execute that with the rest of his coaching staff and the administrative staff led by Chad Bolt. It's a great job, man. It's truly a great story. And I know the third year Notre Dame thing with coaches winning national championships or either getting to the national championship. Brian Kelly did the same thing in his third year, facing off against Alabama. So, January 20th is going to tell the story. It's going to tell the story. But the job that Marcus Freeman has done, it has been nothing short of incredible. Nothing short of incredible.
Nothing short of incredible, man. And it'll be downplayed on how great this has been because they just don't want to give Notre Dame the credit of we restrict ourselves, which but nobody understands the restriction and how it relates to how easy those non-restrictions that those
argument,
other, come on, man.
Our argument is dumb, bro. And as much as I do, I love Cam Newton, bro. I love his individuality. I don't agree with his takes.
It's a lazy opinion. Come on.
I don't agree with all of his opinions. I love that cat, dude. Love him as a player. When he was at Auburn, the Panthers, his podcast is pretty funny at times too. Has some really good interviews. Has some interviews. It's like,
yeah, I mean, his podcast got him some personality.
But bro, let me tell you something. Notre Dame needs to join a conference to prove that it's a legit championship. If Notre Dame beats Ohio State, bro, you can't deny them. I don't want to hear anything about conferences. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? Look, man, we're just being lazy. We're just being lazy, man. Grabbing low-hanging fruit, sticking to narratives. Just got to do better. It's going to be an outrageous matchup in the national championship game. Outrageous. Nick 64, Bonaconti. Yes, Chris Burgess, we talked about that, I believe, on Friday's show. He's going to be playing early, ladies and gents. That's all you need to know. He's going to be playing early.
He looks yeah. Our D-line in a couple years, we don't have to worry about size. We don't have to worry about size in a couple years with our D-line. Because, man, I'm telling you, we are doing all the right things. And that's why we are excited that this is not the peak of a Marcus Freeman tenure at Notre Dame. This is only the beginning. And for the year 3 championship with room to grow, not peak, we're just trying to reload the top. This is not, we got to replace a $20 million roster next year, or we got to go find guys to reload and rebuild like a Tennessee had to, like a Texas A&M did, where they empty out the tank in 1 year, like the Rams did when they got a Super Bowl. They bought the championship, literally got all the best players, and then the next year they was trash. This is a team that's on the rise, a team that made it to the championship at its infancy.
Facts.
You making the championship at your infancy? Meaning you haven't reached the max of the potential or where you could go or what happens when people see that this is really happening. Infancy. Remember when Georgia won its first championship? They was almost at peak, and that lasted for 3 more years. We got guys that the next year they're going to be there, and the year after they're going to be there because they have to. So that's not even mentioning what we've recruited, what the transfer portal has changed the game for. Because now having a top 10 recruiting class is like, you can live with that if you get the transfers we did in the portal. That's huge. So I'm super excited that this is only the beginning of a dynasty, as opposed to us having to reload from taking people from all over the world and not developing a program and paying everybody. I think we did it the right way, man.
We did it the Notre Dame way. It's authentic. This is the Notre Dame way. You can hate it. You can disagree with it. You can call it pompous. You feel like, oh, you need to join a conference. You think you're different and better than everybody. Yeah, they do. They lean into it. They do think they're different.
They lean into it.
They lean into it. It's like, yo, it is what it is.
Who else restricts if we restrict ourselves? Like I said, if we opened up the Notre Dame purse on college football, it wouldn't be no, oh, they spent this. We would be the clear winner. We would get everybody for real. And then you would complain. Then it'd be like, oh, Notre Dame, you have to, because this is not fair. Y'all paying whatever y'all want. Y'all getting whoever y'all need. Y'all paying and spending. Y'all don't have to ask for nothing. And y'all number one in moms. And y'all got Marcus Free. Oh, yeah. This isn't fair.
That's a t-shirt.
Teams
number one in moms.
Like that. Teams that are living on success are living off of the money. Come on now. Texas didn't start getting relevant until they said that they can start paying people. Let's be serious. Come on, look at their rosters before they started paying people. Like, middle of the road.
And you have to give credit to, Ohio State spent it the right way. They spent the majority of it to retain their guys, and then they went out and got difference makers, like a Caleb.
And now they're going to have to replace a whole roster regardless of win or loss. You're going to have to replace the Judkins and the Henderson.
Well, they were going to have to do that anyway, But that's why
but Jeremiah Love's coming back. Jarian Price is coming back. Aeneas Williams coming back. The only person not coming back is
Jeremiah Smith is coming back. Carnell is coming back. Caleb Downs is coming back. I mean, it's not like they're not having Sonny Styles is coming back.
They're definitely losing a lot more than we are. Definitely losing a lot more than we are. And those guys
but you have to give them credit, bro. Because you got,
absolutely.
You got 15 to 20 million being spent at USC and they trash.
USC's not deserving in the conference.
And Bear Alexander got 3 to 5 mil and then left.
And then, USC, they, their issues are beyond something we could fix. We can't.
That's a whole nother conversation.
We can't have, that's a whole nother.
Imagine this defense fully healthy. I just get goosebumps thinking about it. Yeah, Notre Dame is playing without their best 2 pass rushers. Their best 2 pass rushers were out with season-ending injuries in the middle of the season. And yet they're here. And both of them return next year.
Yeah.
Along with the youngsters that are getting those reps now, like a Logan Thomas, like a Bryce Young, like a Josh Burnham. It's the tip, Notre Dame is ascending, man. Another one from Pilney 35. You're on the road tonight, Pilney. We appreciate you for the super chat. Anybody see the symbolism storyline of this game on MLK Day? So many storybook angles this season. 10 men on the field, redemption. I think Marcus Freeman, his comments about the MLK thing. I'm actually going to do a separate podcast for the Patreon about that. I was talking with LeVon Whitaker when he was on his way back from the Orange Bowl. He was actually waiting to take his second flight in O'Hara. So we were talking to each other. And, he had tweeted something out about those comments and Marcus Freeman being asked about that, post game, and I just laughed, man, because we both were like, why do people get so upset by this question? Like, why does it cause so much vitriol? Why do people get so inflamed around Marcus Freeman in connection to his heritage and his bloodline? Like, why are people so upset? It's a question.
They're like, identify yourself.
It's like, oh,
Who do you claim? Who are you with?
Right? And for me, someone that's been in those rooms, that's low-hanging fruit questions I always, because people say, well, man, certain questions you have to ask. No, you don't. I tell you all the time, my mentor would tell me, if it's a question you feel like you have to ask, don't ask it. Because majority of the time, there's a better question you can ask. Like, don't be that guy that feels like, I got to ask this question. No, you don't. Find a better question.
No, you don't.
And so, man, look. The question really is not that serious. Right? And Marcus Freeman answered it perfectly, man, which he continues to do the majority of the time. He didn't take the Sharon Moore approach to it. And that's why he's a great leader, and that's why he relates to his young players, man. All of his young players. But
you gonna cop some of that new Ye gear?
It's just like, dude, like, if you don't feel like it's a good question, fine. Like, or do you get that inflamed about, how many bad questions I hear from post game in college football, in the NFL, in the NBA constantly? Like I said, I've been in those rooms, bro. I was that guy who would always be sitting to the side, rolling his eyes like, what? Did you just ask that? Like, but only when it's focused on that particular topic, that's people just get up in arms, like, oh my God, how could you dare ask it? What do you mean? It's low-hanging fruit. It's a softball question.
That's all it is. It's just low-hanging fruit, guys.
And I really don't think the media was trying to like trip him up or get some sensational statement or something like that. It was just an easy question, dude. Like, it fell on the holiday. No one made the national championship game has been played on a Monday for years. It just happens to fall on this particular holiday. Like, it is what it is. It's not.
No, they did it because it's Marcus Freeman's black, and he's about to.
he handled it perfectly, just like he handled the facing his former teammates, alums, and all. Dude, with Ohio State, it's not about that. It's about the game.
Yes. He got to keep reminding folks all the time.
He's handled it perfectly, but for me, it's disappointing to see people get that upset over a question. It's a question.
It's a question.
That's it. He shouldn't be seen that way. Unfortunately, he is for some people. That's why it's a question. Because the people coming up with the questions don't look like Marcus Freeman. That's the crazy thing. They don't. So, I don't know, man. Great transfer portal weekend for the Fighting Irish. Elijah Hughes, USC kid. He's from Virginia, the DMV. Notre Dame really wasn't part of his recruitment coming out of high school. He committed to USC. He played sparingly early in the season. His first start, I believe, was against Rutgers. Played more against Washington. Took a few snaps against Notre Dame. I had to look really hard to find him against Notre Dame. I'm like, we keep blowing this dude. The offensive line was blowing them off the ball. So I'm like, oh, is that 56? They really believe in his talent. He's extremely gifted. Some people projected him to be a really athletic right tackle or guard. He really could have played both ways. He chose to play the defensive line when he got to USC. And he's around two. He's like Howard Cross. They probably envision him to be a Howard Cross type. And then the Jared Dawson kid from Louisville, just massive, just a massive kid.
Yeah, huge.
He is. Here's the. Let me read you the scouting report I got from my guy Ken Gibbs at Locked On ACC. He said, great interior pass rush juice. Needs to be more consistent against the run, but even then, he's good. Just not as good as he is as a pass rusher. So he's an extremely talented pass rusher. Like you said, you wanted that pocket push from the middle left. That's what Dawson does the best. So they're getting Jared Dawson to fill that
We
void.
love.
Yeah, so they're basically in the portal replacing Howard Cross and Riley Mills. That's what they're doing.
Great. That's veteran. That's
Noah Burnett,
veteran,
kicker from North Carolina.
that's veteran leadership.
Yeah. And
you're adding veteran leadership, replacing Xavier Watts with strong.
You're breaking up a little bit, Left.
Okay.
You're breaking up. See if you can come back in. We're almost done anyway. Thank you for you guys for tapping in with us tonight. Give us a few more minutes. They added Burnett, the kicker from North Carolina. As a transfer, they go back to the Carolinas to get another kicker. They also signed the number one kicker in recruiting. There you go, Left. They signed the number one kicker in recruiting. So they're trying to shore up special teams. And then they ended with a graduate transfer from Virginia Tech, a very strong secondary, Jalen Stroman, safety from Virginia Tech. Our guy, Ken Gibbs, this is what he said about him. That's one of the steals out of the portal. If you play for any other school, you probably would be spending a little bit more on this kid, but because it's Notre Dame, they're getting him at a very reasonable NIL price. And everybody talks about the cornerbacks in that secondary. Well, those cornerbacks were able to play aggressive because they had an extremely talented safety like Stroman on the back end that they could trust. He is phenomenal. He's an absolute phenomenal safety. That's Jalen Stroman. And that's Ken Gibbs from Locked On ACC, Locked On College Football from the Locked On Network. Penalty 35. This game feels like the 2001 Super Bowl. Ohio State is the Rams, greatest show on turf. Notre Dame and the New England Pats, huge underdogs. Nobody is giving Notre Dame a chance here. No shock. And I can't even say that if I was in Vegas, I probably would be setting the line the absolute same way by the metrics. And fortunately, football isn't played in Vegas. It's played on a football field. Or football is actually played in Vegas. Notre Dame just played BYU there last season, but you know what I mean. It's played on the field. It's not played at the betting windows. So we'll see. I think that's it. I think that's all the news that broke this weekend. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about offense of Notre Dame going up against its vaunted, the top two defenses. This is another thing about this matchup. It showcases the top two defenses in all of college football. We can talk about all of the offensive talent, but both of these teams are here because of defense and two really good defensive coordinators. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow. Howard Griffith joins us to talk about this game. And then on Wednesday, Coach Carl Reed from 247, he joins us to break down transfer portal and then talk about this matchup as well and why he is really gung-ho on Marcus Freeman and has kind of changed his tune after seeing the development of Marcus Freeman as a head coach. He'll be with us Wednesday. So that's Howard Griffith tomorrow. And then Coach Carl Reed is going to join us on Wednesday. So for Left, SD2 Mics, we thank everyone that stayed up to watch us, even with playoff football going on. We appreciate you guys, man. We do it for you. And we'll be back the rest of the week to break down and talk about the nuances of this national championship game between Notre Dame and Ohio State coming up on January the 20th. Have a great Monday and a blessed Tuesday. But most of all, make sure you continue to spin it different. God bless.